Hey guys, welcome back to the Fast Life Podcast. Today's video, this podcast came out a long time ago. This is a re-release, if you will. When I recorded this back in 2023 with Max Schaaf, the video was kind of corrupted, and somehow through technology, I got it to work now. So I wanted to release this podcast in video form for you guys that want to check it out. This particular podcast, I've listened back to quite a few times on my own. It's one I particularly like a lot. I think a lot of people like it as well. So let's get into it with Max Schaaf.
I actually have never I've never done like something with a microphone like this. So I'll get used to it in a minute. Yeah.
Well, dude, you've done so much stuff, dude. It's like, it's an endless supply. I actually binged most of it. I watched, another backstory, but I've really been into the whole Epically Layered series for a while.
Yeah. It's pretty special.
I've been watching all that stuff because, I grew up, skating, not good at it, but I grew up, at least keeping some board companies in business and some truck companies and shit. So,
did you say you learned a kickflip in one day?
I learned how to ollie a force down.
Or ollie in one day. Yeah. I was like, damn, that's a rare thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm coordinated. I'm really coordinated. Yeah. So, played sports my whole life. So it was easy to kind of do certain things, but I feel like the rest of my skateboard career, it was my head. I couldn't get things out of my head. I couldn't, I'd do the bigger stairs, but then I never planned to land it because I was like, there's no way. You know what I mean? It was all mental.
Yeah. There's a lot of mental in that game. Yeah.
So, but like I said, I grew up. I knew who you were when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Because I was into. I got introduced to this in vert, and then I was like, I want to skate vert. And then I realized there's no fucking vert anywhere around. Yeah. And then I found a skate park in Dallas that did have one. I go up there and I'm like, yeah, I don't know how to start here. You know what I mean? Like, and there's all these other dudes on it all night. So it's like, I'm never going to.
Which park was that?
It was a Freestyle in Kennedale, Texas.
Okay.
And then this was back in like 97, 98.
Oh, it was the dark days of vert for sure.
It was?
Yeah. I mean, just no one wanted to do it. Everyone wanted to street skate.
Yeah, well, it kind of pushed me into street skating because I didn't really I feel like I couldn't scratch that itch of the vert thing. So, but yeah, I had homies that had like mini ramps and stuff, and that was always it. I still want a mini ramp today. Yeah. And I'm going to fuck myself up.
Yeah, they're the shit though.
Yeah, I want one.
Yeah, they're fun. You get broke off, but you can pretend you're on vert. Like I had a little tiny mini ramp next to the vert ramp I used to skate. Yeah. And it was this big, 3 feet tall, and I'd learn something on there and then have to take it to the vert. But you still got like the turn of your shoulders, and you're like, okay, a little more psyched to try it versus just 12 feet. Yeah, yeah. That's once you like I said, once you actually get vert on the ramp, that shit, I would like be able to kind of, just pump up to it and maybe hit the coping, do a little turn and burn down. But dropping in, fuck no. I tried it once and busted my ass, and it was it. I was like, I'm fucking over that. Yeah. I watched my best friend, the guy that I was 13 when I met him, and he was like nearly 16, and he was like, I'll drive. He had a little Honda, and I could already drop in on vert, and he hadn't done it. And we were like, all right, Dave, he's the guy, he's like our fucking boy. We're with some friends from Oakland, and we're like, all right, you just stomp on your front foot. Everyone tells you that, stomp on your front foot. Just lean all the way in. Right? Don't lean back. He was so nervous. He put his foot up and he stepped over the front of his board. This wasn't a huge vert ramp, but it was 10.5 feet. And he just splatted to the bottom, and it looked like the police chalk drawing. He was just down there fucking, and we were like, these bloods are skating around him. And I'm just like, I think my friend is dead. Next day, you don't bruise at 16, 15, barely. He was bruised from like ankle to hip. Damn. Is real. Did he ever get back on it and try? He did, but I swear it changed his game forever. For real. Because every time you were like, fucking do it. You got it. You got it. He was like, you told me that time. Right? I don't believe you anymore. You kind of reverse that concept, but you can't do this shit, dude. Totally. No, I mean, that's wild. But, first off, man, let me just thank you for sitting down and answering my message. Absolutely. I really appreciate it. I have been following your motorcycle career since I got into the chopper world. Actually, the thing that got me in was 2 documentaries. It was 21 Days Under the Sky. Yep. And 6 Over. And nice. 6 Over it still is my favorite one. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the 21 Days, but the 6 Over, just like the personality in each guy that was on it. Yeah. And still to this day, like some of the guys like Jeremy
fuck. It's been a minute since I watched it. But the fuck, what's this dude down there? He was bringing you a tank to paint it.
Oh, Jason Weber.
Jason.
Yeah.
Love that dude.
Best dude.
He's fucking funny
Best
as
fucking
hell,
dude.
man.
He still is that, you know, everyone changes and that's good, right?
Yeah.
But like, you know, when you're like, I hope this one part of my homie never changes.
No.
It never changed. He's always that dude. Funny as fuck. Kind of like life sucks, you know, but inside he like raised the best daughter in the world.
Yeah.
Moved out to Tennessee.
He's out there now?
Yeah, just to kind of have a better spot for his family. You know, California is too expensive.
That you know, like I was telling you before, coming off of that Big Wheel stuff, it's like seeing those videos and then kind of and to kind of wrap this all back into each other. That was 2016 when I saw this, and then in Dallas, we had the local shop. We had Chopper Supply,
right,
with Kenny out there. So I bought a Dyna first to get off my Big Wheel. I didn't want to ride the Big Wheel bagger to the Chopper shop. Be like, hey guys, what do y'all do?
Yeah.
And Kenny was super helpful. And then like a week later was Southern Throwdown.
Okay.
And you were at that one that year. And I remember because I had watched those documentaries and I saw you there. And I was like, oh man, I want to go say something. That's the dude from the fucking video. And I was too pussy.
I was so drunk, man. I had to introduce some award and I told a bad joke. And I was just like, man, I got to stop drinking at these things. But you get so much anxiety and, you know, someone expects you to be a certain way to just get a little, like you were saying earlier, just to like take that edge off.
Yep.
And then it's a slippery slope. I had a dunking booth, you know, I was just like,
it was wild.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, that documentary was so fucking awesome. And I've always just admired that. And then, you know, and then I started going to things like Giddy Up and then, you know, those other smaller shows. And then I saw how intimate and how, you know, how much passion was actually in it. It wasn't like a dick swinging contest. Yeah. I mean, there's probably some of that there, but it was not, it didn't feel like it was, nobody was like sweating how much money somebody spent. It was like, the coolest thing was like, how much did you not spend?
Right.
You know?
Right.
So
what did you work with?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I just fell in love with it. And, you know, I was too much of a pussy to go get a chopper, you know, because I like to travel on the bikes and I just wasn't ready for that kind of well, I don't know what this does. I'm literally going from fuel injection backwards. Right. So I just didn't grow up knowing that stuff and whatnot. But
it's, you know, man, it's real classic and you hear it 1,000 times. They're tractors. Yeah. Right. You know, it's great experience riding the generator shovel to New York and back. Mm-hmm. We're almost home. We stop in like Nevada on that loneliest highway and old boy comes out and he's like, you know, kind of doing the walk, kind of looking down his nose and looking around. He goes, nice bar hopper. And I was like, yeah, thanks. You know, fucking I'm down for a compliment, like whatever you want to call my bike. Yeah. And he didn't call it a Sportster, you know, which a lot of people do. That's a good. And he goes, you know, you can't really ride that anywhere. And I go, oh, and then he looks at the plate and he goes, oh, shoot, well, you rode from California. I said, well, actually, you know, we rode to New York. We're on our way home. Mm. He said nothing, just turned around, walked away.
I guess I'll go fuck myself.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, when you got it dialed in, like I said, on a RT, it's so comfy. They're so killer. Yeah. You beat the shit out of them. You know, check your wheel bearings and your belt, you know, and go. These things, your ears start to get that road ears at the end of the night. You hear like your lifters and everything.
You start to isolate all these different sounds.
Bro, that kind of stuff. I wore earplugs for like hundreds of miles just to eliminate that. And then I missed kind of the sound of the wind and everything. But you know, 65, 75, geared properly. Yeah. You can do it. And the cool thing is they're so prehistoric. You meet people that are like, what do you need?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've heard. I mean, I've heard that, you know, Danger Dan always says the road provides. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I know it's possible. I just, you know, I got to stop being a fucking, you know, pussy.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
I am building a FXR chopper this year, though. Swing arm still.
Nice.
So D-rake style, you know, all that mess. And I do plan on, you know, taking that at least halfway across country from Dallas.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Twin camming it.
Yeah. I mean, you'll see it. It's a different trip. And what my whole thing is like, get it while you can. Yeah. Like I can still kickstart a bike. Yeah. So later in life when I can't, maybe that's when I tip it up and hit the button.
Exactly.
But no disrespect. It's all you know, I grew up with the push mini bikes, my brother and I, and that was that thing where you're like, you can't go nowhere on it. You're a kid. You're fucking 8 years old, around the neighborhood breaking chains. And I remember we'd wear, you know, skid so much, the sprocket would drag on the ground. But that was my first chopper, is those little things with my older brother. And that was the weirdest thing about this, is I had that mentality where I was like, well, I'm going to build this thing and you won't be able to ride it anywhere. And then you start to go, you know, then go across, Bay Bridge is right there.
Yeah.
Across the Bay Bridge, and you're like, damn, I'm going to go to Santa Cruz tomorrow. And it's just like the kid on the skateboard.
You start pushing further,
getting that freedom. Yeah. And then you start to like trust your work. Tank comes loose, peg falls off. You know, you're like, okay, this is the shit I need to work on. And, you know, I guess we're jumping right into it, but you know, back in early 2000, when I finished mine, I started in 98. Bought it off the front lawn of this dude. He just passed away, actually, just heard. It was a kind of sad news 2 days ago. But he sold me a bike off his front lawn. You just start to kind of learn, you know, what you're doing. But there was no one into it here. So there was no one judging you. There was no one zooming in on your photo of your fucking risers on backwards. Or there wasn't like any haters. There was just, you'd go out to the clubhouse or to Sonny's shop, which was called... Oakland Custom Flashes at the time. You see the Flash documentary? That thing that dude filmed with Flash from, oh, bro, I'll send it to you tonight. It's insane. Some famous interviewer dude that interviews people in the Appalachians and different stuff, but it's...
Oh, you talking about the white underbelly guy? Yeah.
So he does...
I didn't know he did one with the guys.
It's insane. Like, it's just fucking insane. So that's, remember Flash helped me a few times, but they would clown you for doing something stupid, you know, couldn't get the cups in the frame. You know, they're like, well, some all thread, some washers, and 2 bolts. And I listened to one of your podcasts. You said you learn from video or learn from doing, not from reading. I'm the same exact way, right? Get a transmission, take it apart, put it back together. But when I'm looking at the book, I'm scratching my head. Or if someone's like, just do that. I have to do it. So he would kind of show me how to do stuff. But as far as like a young peanut gallery ready for you to make a mistake, it wasn't there. So it was really cool. I got to like be like teaching yourself to skate on a farm, you know? I got to kind of teach myself this day by day. And if I made a mistake, no one was like, you know, it wasn't the cool, I don't even want to say cool guy, but it wasn't like a cool thing.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. I never really thought about that recently, how it's like, you know, we're all kind of searching for a little bit of validation, but we don't necessarily want the criticism in the form that it comes. It'd be different if it felt more sincere. You know, and online it's just, you know, it's more of a, you know, like, why would you even say that kind of thing? You know what I mean? But back in the day, like, I remember, because, you know, when I first started painting, and I would take the paint jobs to like the guy that I kind of learned under, he'd be like, man, it looks really good, you know, just you need to button up this, and this. And I'm like, fuck yeah.
That's the perfect way.
You know, there's not like, oh, that shit's weak. You know what I mean? Looks like you copied somebody else. It's none of that shit.
Totally. Yeah, I remember I put a rear tire on backwards.
I did, dude. I put my front wheel on backwards and rode it to Sturgis last year. It's just the tire trail was going the wrong way.
Yeah, and you know, someone cool would be like, "Hey, man, killer bike, your tires backwards."
And that's exactly what happened.
You never, and you're just noticed. Like, "I'm never doing that again." No, I mean, that's, you know, that's the thing. Like skating, you're never going to be the best, and there's no rules to it. You know, don't push with your front foot. Fuck, even people have done that and become pro skaters. So, you know, with this thing, with the chopper thing, that was kind of my thing, is like, man, you could do what everyone's doing. And my first bike did look like someone else's bike because I was inspired. But then as soon as you kind of find your deal, it's sky's the limit.
Well, I've always said this, and you might have heard it in that podcast with Scott, but I felt like we're all just a vessel for all of our inspirations, and that's what creates our unique individual thing. It is like the people that we've been inspired by or learned from, or whatever the case may be. You know, if you like this builder, you know, they're all kind of different, and then you know, as that flows through you, something different comes out that's unique. But it's still, it's gonna have this kind of, maybe it's the city you grew up in that has a little bit of a taste into the bike.
Yeah, or you see like grays and blues, or like I was back in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and like I saw a lot of yellow on bridges and stuff. Like you never know how it all goes into the chili. But I think as long as I think a lot of people now, they're like, I like that front end. I like that little swoop on the tank. I'm going to do one of those. That shit, or the boomerang on the front of the chopper, they all put the thing now. It's more weight. It's more, it looks cool, but like it's been beaten to the ground. That's where like I try to pull back, and like you look at a real knuckle early frame that are brazed and you see that casting, and it's like, let's show off that casting. As long as you think for yourself and get inspired by others. I mean,
well, it goes back to what you just said, though. I think a lot of people are maybe they're building their first chopper, or doing what they can, right? And then it comes out and they put it all in the world, and the world's like, yo, man, like you just, because there's no context behind it, right? That's
true.
And so, it's just hard for anybody to kind of really just get it out there and get positive feedback, because, everybody's got a fucking opinion these days, right?
Yeah.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, it's every once in a while you want a thumbs down button, right? Like someone says something fucking stupid and you want to give them a thumbs down.
Yeah.
Thank God there isn't, because people would just power trip on it. But that's it. That thing, man, it's an evil little deal. But we want to watch some Hell's Angels ride into Altamont.
Yeah.
You get to find the thing and watch it, or it's crazy how much information.
I think when you search for something that, when Instagram first kind of came out, it was inspiring.
Right.
To see culture and people and art and photography and places that you didn't know exist, or you didn't know they existed in America. It was just like this, you could follow your old lady and your mom and your brother, but there's all these other things that were kind of creative people that were putting something on the table to learn.
Yeah.
And then now it's like everybody's a fucking influencer and a brand ambassador, and it's all sales. And I'm guilty of this as well. So, I'm speaking from my own feelings towards what I feel like my Instagram has become in some aspects, know, but I just want to get back. I like to find things, and then I've actually started unfollowing a lot of people that I actually consider friends,
right?
But not because I don't want to be connected to them. I'm actually connected to them in real life,
sure.
But I just want less shit on there, so that when I open the app, it's kind of just a curated place of things that I actually want to see,
absolutely,
and find inspiration from, and not like
I feel that, man. I read a lot of books, and I notice when I'm reading a good book, I'm not gramming, I'm like totally stimulated in a different way. And then I'm down here, but, you can get wrapped up in it. And like you said, there's good stuff on there, but there's plenty of, you just spiraled off on some fight videos, and you're like, I'm 20 deep into this like fight video. What am I doing?
Yeah.
But I think about, the most popular shit on there, or TikTok or whatever, is pop. It's like pop trendy stuff. And that's like the curse of popularity. It's not the quality stuff. It's fluff. It's easy for everyone to like. And someone says to me like, oh, you got a popular Instagram, or you're popular. I'm like, man, I'm not fucking popular. Like, look at Jason Momoa's Instagram. Look at a pop music star's Instagram. It's like 1 billion followers. Does that make it good? No.
On that note, I feel like what happens, and maybe you can add to this, it's like I feel like because what Instagram has done now is they're trying to reward people that get views on things. So people are all curating ideas, or their art, if you will, to be some kind of clickbaity thing.
Right.
And so to get views, instead of to just like, real art was never made to be that way. It was never made to be something that you're trying to get all this shit on. If you're a photographer, you're a videographer, you make choppers, you make shit, art, whatever. It's like now you can't just do a badass painting and post a picture of it.
Right.
You got to do a reel, and it's got to spin around, and it's got to have a good song on it.
Totally.
So it's like it takes away from like, man, this is not the way that I intended for this to be viewed to the world. And it's unfortunate that this app is it's curating the way people have to be.
Right.
If they want the incentivization of, eyes on it. And it's creating like a lot of the same shit over and over again.
Yeah, dude, I had that blog back in the day, and it had like a really wild following at one time. I was like, man, this is cool. I just would vomit I call it that. I'd vomit stuff out. Say it was, I found like some acoustic Hendrix thing and it was just badass and it gave you the goosebumps. You know, like put that on there and then put a picture of Sunny and put a picture of like my dog climbing a tree or like, you know, or what I was working on, a paint job. But it was all like this, you know? And if you wanted to come to the party and look at it and say, badass, or my dad had one like that, or whatever, you know, you could. But it wasn't, I didn't interact with like a lot of other blog people. I didn't consider myself a blogger. I just had this diary online. And that was the trick with this thing is like, you're getting fed so much. And I would get the thing where someone would follow me. They're like a fan. And then I would meet them and they'd say, hey, bro, give me a follow. I look at their gram and it's like chili recipes and their baby, you know, and I'm like, fuck, man, I'm not trying to follow this. Like, I'm just not. Like you said, you want to tighten it up. And then they unfollow me. And I was like, man, that's pretty fucking backwards. Yeah. Like you were a fan or I inspired you in some way, but I don't want to follow your chili and baby Instagram. And now you feel disrespected or something. Yeah. It's like, I was more than friendly to you in person and we were real, but that's that weird thing. So I just, you know what, man, I haven't posted something for a while. I put my little stories up. I barely look at it, look at some friends' stories. And then I put it on the back page of your pages. So I have to like scroll to it. Yep. So that sometimes you're like, what the fuck am I doing right now? Yeah. Like
third swipe, you're like, why am I over here?
Get back to it. But it's funny. If you would have said you were going to come here and we were going to talk about Instagram, I would have laughed. You know, been like, nah, dude, we're not going to fucking talk about it. But it's something that's just shoved in our face. And, you know, when you sent me the message to be on here, I said yes before I took the deep dive down your gram. Yeah. Because I trust everything by a feeling. And I just was like, let's do it. And then when I looked at it, I was like, cool, man, this is a little different crowd probably. And, why not? Because most likely you're here because you dig motorcycles. And I dig motorcycles and you dig motorcycles and thank God they don't all look the same. You know?
I think if I was, you know, for my fuel injected audience that listens to this, I think right now in our little scene, our world, our little performance motorcycle scene, I think we're in a transitional phase of like growing pains where people need to hear someone that has, you know, like I said, I've listened to a lot of things that you've on, a lot of the videos, the lowbrow stuff, the Born Free stuff. I've even listened to some of the skate podcasts that you've been on. Right. And it's just like people need another perspective in this. Right. Right. They're kind of, I feel like a lot of people are just going through this motorcycle scene right now without any understanding of motorcycle scenes before. Right. And the things they should appreciate, they're kind of throwing to the trash. And the things that are becoming kind of normal are the things that kind of run scenes in the trash. Right. You know what I mean? Absolutely. And it wasn't so much like, hey, I'm going to bring you on so you can like warn all these guys. But, you know, like I figured that, you know, you have, you know, just by talking about your lineage within not even talking about the skateboard culture. Right. Just bikes. Right. That people would be able to, you know, you've been doing this for damn near 20 years now. Over 20 years, right?
20 years, yeah.
That's something that everybody should be striving to be at, you know, being into something like motorcycling for 20 years. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, a 10-year thing, like I'm not a surfer, but I started surfing because it's fun and it's easier on my body. I've been doing it 7-8 years. I went like the first years 100 times, wake up 4:30 in the morning, be the first guy out. It's not for everyone. Don't start because it's already too crowded. But even right now, I'm like, man, I can do this and it feels good. And if I did it for 10 years, I would feel accomplished. Not even I'll never be sponsored. I'll never get anything from it. Yeah. It's just for me. But like, you remember when you were a kid, when you were a freshman in high school to a senior, that felt like 20 years now. Yeah. Or if you looked at someone that was 18 when you were 14, you're like, damn, that's an old guy. Yeah. Right. And now, like, as life just flies by in front of you, 20 years is a good chunk. Tell you the truth, it feels like 6 years. Damn, you know, really just goes like that. You know, I'll think of laying on this greasy carpet in my first garage. I can tell you how it smelled. I could tell you that I probably have the piece of wood I'd rest my head on because I didn't have a lift and I was building my first bike. And it feels like yesterday. And I kicked that bike for 2 weeks straight. It was a shovel head with a magneto, and my leg bruised from the inside out from the muscle flexing so much. And I learned a shit ton in that 2 weeks about like timing and tuning. You know, I'm not a big dude, and I like magnetos, so I got no spark assistance from a battery. I had to really learn how to tune my bike. Super E's and Linkerts and my Coonies and SUs. I've had them all on old bikes just because I was trying to find that thing, that startup, that easy thing, but a little bit of performance. But like that was just all me in my garage, and like calling a dude at a machine shop I knew, calling people that weren't into bikes, that were into cars. You know, it was the path of this whole thing that you're even here, that this even exists, whatever I do. Yeah. It's like uncanny. It's like a weird, it's just weird because I don't.
Yeah, I don't feel like you planned this. You just chased what felt good.
Straight up.
You know what I mean?
Straight up. I never meant to be a pro skater. You know, I really didn't. I just, like you, just jumped on one day and I dug it. You know, I like the way, I always say it, like the way it sounded. Yeah. You know, people sometimes say, why a knucklehead or why an XLCH? Well, you're on top of one. It makes a certain sound. I like the way shit sounds. Yeah. That's why I started skating. You told me I was going to be a pro skater. Absolutely not. There's no way. Those dudes are gods and superheroes. And with the bike thing, you know, it was that little 4Q bike with the twisted pipes. It was easy for people to say, oh, the knucklehead says 4Q, which, you know, and knew what it meant at the time, aside from Vietnam veterans and homeless people, because they had writ it on something to.
I don't know what it is.
So it's fuck you, you know, 4Q. Oh. So like it's an old punk song, but before in Britain, you know, 4Q, you know, 4Q. So my mentor, Moochie, this old dude, first time I met him, he goes, oh, 4Q, I had that on my bike. Nice. Like, bullshit. You're full of shit. I didn't know him very well. Yeah. Shows me this old picture, and on his oil bag, he had this little 4Q. And I go, yeah, you know what it means? He goes, fuck you. You know, so he goes, we used to write it on binders in school. If you didn't know the answer to a test and you didn't like that teacher, you'd put a 4Q. They didn't know what it meant. So, but that little bike, you know, the little 4Q bike, that was just trying to make a weird little bike. I was influenced by, remember Chica? Yeah. And then at the time, it was Chica, and then he's this badass Japanese dude in the desert. Zero Engineering. Remember that guy? He was on the early biker build-offs.
I feel like I do. What was his name?
Shinya.
Man, I don't know if I'm recalling that one.
Yeah, he's the only Japanese dude. Like the one dude goes to get inspired at the strip club. It's maybe versus Billy Lane or something. Okay. And he goes to the art gallery, or he goes to a museum, and he's like, like looking at color. It's really cool. Like it's just like,
oh shit, I must have missed it.
Yeah,
I feel like I've watched all of them.
Yeah, Shinya. He put like the manifold on the side of his bike for an exhaust. I think it was a knucklehead, but I didn't go super deep down those things. But I saw those Zero bikes, but I was like, I want it to be like a chopper Zero bike, and that's how that thing became it. And then it, you know, got on him. Some dude showed up to shoot a photo of it.
So how, like when you were, you know, when did you get your first bike? Like in 98? Was it
98? Yeah.
So what was like what made you go, I want to do this? You know what I mean?
I had
I mean, was skateboarding at the time, was it just like kind of like a well-oiled machine, or was it kind of,
let me think.
So I remember you talking about you wasn't into all the shows and like the contests and stuff, you know.
I had done all that X Games stuff, and it even came here, and that was cool. You know, Tony Hawk and I are skating right across the bay. I saw him do that first 900.
Damn,
bonkers, right in front of my face. You know, right there. But when you're a pro skater, I grew up 13 years old, 12 years old with the paper out. Right, load up the bike, get up in the morning, and then at like 14 or 15, my brother moved out and left a little scooter. So I put the papers in the back. You could wheelie. It was a Riva jog or something. I crashed it so many times, but I always had a job, and then we'd have little odd jobs in the summer, and I liked having my little money. So when you start being a pro skater, I was working as a landscaper the day I turned pro, like the day I had my first pro model. You know, I still wanted a job because I liked you got to do something.
Yeah. Being productive.
So, yeah, just being productive. And like, you know, dude, when your uncle's telling you how hard he works and shit, and you're like, oh, I do bong rips on the couch all day. I'm a pro skater.
Yeah.
That's not me. No shade thrown at anyone. I wasn't into it.
What year did you turn pro?
Probably like 93 or 4. Yeah. So I was like, graduated high school in 91, missed my graduation to go on tour with real skateboards as an amateur. But that's how like that thing started. I forget the question you asked me.
Oh, like how that kind of transpired from pro skating to...
You got time on your hands.
Yeah.
Right? You can't skateboard all day. You're going to kill your body. And I had a vert ramp inside my house. So my buddies would get off work or whatever, and 3 or 4 o'clock would roll around, and they're getting off work and they want to skate the ramp. But I'd woke up at 7 o'clock. So I started going to school, took photography classes at like community college. That's how I learned to paint. That's how I learned welding and mechanics. But
so you did that before you even wanted to go down the bike path?
I did the mechanics and welding, 2 years of like body and paint, and then photography. I took these other like history and art classes too. I was just like a little scrub down at the community college, just like got to do something. But then I would also have I worked at a wood shop for a little while. But the time on your hands thing is, I had it. So I was like, man, I need to do something. And I was helping with 2 kids in the worst neighborhood that I lived in down there. And they started to grow up and they started to get into trouble. And I had a lot of time on my hands then because I was like taking them to school and doing homework with them. And I wasn't doing that. And I had bought this basket case off the front lawn because I wanted a bike. I had a truck, an old 38 Chevy in Jason Jesse's garage, and he had 2 choppers right there. He'd go upstairs or disappear. And more than anything I learned in that garage is I would look at cool shit. Yeah. And you're a kid, you're a red-blooded American. You look at a panhead and you go, that's the shit. You look at his Chevy lowrider and you're like, man, that's the shit. Yeah. But we weren't getting shit done. I'd drive an hour and a half each way and we were just eating sandwiches and cracking jokes and cutting farts or whatever, So eventually when I got out of that garage, I got the truck home and started messing with that. I had already had my eye on some choppers or I want a chopper,
What was the scene like though? Was there a scene connected to it at all?
At the time, there was Jason and Cole Foster and Salinas. This is what I knew. Yeah. But first time I go to, where's the motorcycle shop? The first place I went was Harley Davidson in Oakland. And I said, well, I'm at the wrong place. You can't even buy 50 weight here right now, or whatever it was. I said probably something for a 69 Shovelhead. And they looked at me like, we don't even sell chains. So I went to Sonny Barger's old shop, which was Flashes or Oakland Custom at the time. And I remember I needed the cups for a frame I'd bought. And that's when I had a old 50s panel truck at the time, a Suburban. And the dude comes out, this guy Guinea, he's real famous, HA, notoriously hard ass. And he looks at the panel truck and he says, oh, it's a nice truck. He goes, let me see the frame. It's a straight leg frame, 55. And he goes, it's a nice frame. Tell you what, leave the truck and the frame here. We'll put your cups in for you. Fucking with me, testing me. It's in East Oakland, man, in the fucking hood across from the clubhouse. And I was like, looked down and I was like, I think I'm good. And that's when he's like, take some all thread and some washers and some nuts and tighten them up and squeeze them in. And I was like, what the fuck does he mean? But then you made short work of that once that happened. But that's kind of how it started. But after kind of being such a clueless idiot inside Jason's garage back then, but like I also saw what Cole Foster was doing and the metal work and how far he was taking it. And with 100% respect to Cole, because he gets down as hard as anyone, it wasn't quite my style. It was just so polished. Yeah. And but it was right there, you know. There's no way you're like looking at Picasso, you know. Exactly, you're like, so I needed to do my finger painting for a while. So I went in my garage and I just started buying parts, you know, here in Oakland. It was easy, and had to figure out how to put that thing together. And it took 2 years. And
did you have anything to ride while you were doing it, or was it just that?
I might have had a Honda CB350. Okay. Yeah. What ended up happening, it was pretty cool, man. This was like eBay had just started, right? Yeah. And so I had my bike almost complete, but I was really struggling with the clutch. And for any old bike head, they'll understand what I'm about to say is I had a generator shovel, which a panhead transmission and engine has a certain shaft in the transmission. It's a short shaft. Generator shovel has a mid shaft, right? And then a later cone shovel has a longer shaft. I had a panhead transmission behind my generator shovel because I didn't want these little ears that the other ones had the wrong shaft. So every time I'd go to start the thing, it sounded like fucking a war, you know, just like, and I was like, man, what the fuck? And I'd shut it off. I thought I was killing my bike. I just had the wrong shaft in there. I needed the mid one. So everything was just rubbing on everything and all fucked up, and my belt was out of line. So that took, I would like, you know, when you're learning something, you get so defeated so quick. You wake up like, today's the day. Yeah. 2 weeks later, you're just like, what the fuck is wrong? And someone on the phone would be like, well, sounds like you have it all dialed, because I didn't know. I rode it up to this coffee shop. And this dude goes, old biker dude, forget his name. He's gone. But he goes, you might have the wrong shaft in your transmission. It was like, light bulb. But that's how it was in the beginning, because here in Oakland, there was zero scene, especially on this side of Oakland. And even those early bikes I took out to Flash's shop, you know, they'd go, cool. Yeah. You got mechanical brakes. You know, they make disc brakes now. No one was like super gassed up. They didn't get it. Yeah. Well, they got it, but they'd been there, done that. Oh, yeah, yeah. You know, like I remember he's like, that's a single down tube 96-inch shovel head right there with a dual disc brakes up front. That's the shit. And I was just like, doesn't look like the shit to me. Now I'd buy that thing in like a quick second. But, you know, it was just, it was such, in a very cool way, it was my path. And it was a real slow path at first. But I think that's when I fell in love with it, because every victory was huge. Like I remember I got 2 clean white t-shirts with, you know, chili stain, coffee stain or whatever that were gone, put them out on my workbench, and I disassembled that transmission. And I had the book, you know, I had the manual, I still have that one with the grease stains from that day. And I scattered my transmission, and then I had the new short shaft here, and I just scooted everything over and put it all together. I still have that transmission and still runs good. Damn. But like, that's how, then it was moments of just diving in head first. And then you'd meet people that you looked up to, and you'd be like, hey man, you ever rebuilt your transmission? And they're like, fuck no. Like, I have Carlos do that for me. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I'm in. Like, I'm starting to fucking
feel confident about what you've learned how to do.
Yeah. And that's how the paint thing came along, is there was this dude, Manuel in Salinas, that painted, I think for Cole, some, definitely Jason, and just the funniest, coolest dude. And I saw him painting outside one day, and I was like, what the fuck? Like a good paint job. It's a red candied paint job. And I was just like, over gold. And I was like, man, that looks so badass. Just moving the gun back and forth. You know, I got to learn. I signed up for the paint class at the community college, but that was deep, you know, 4 nights a week, like a 4-hour class for 2 years to get the certificate. Yeah. I'm holding a gun. I'm using the best 3M and PPG, Euro downdraft booth, you know, like in the suit.
Professional. Yeah.
Yeah. With the air, but the teacher would always pull me aside and be like, try this booth, our old, you know, what's it called? Like a side draft booth, or when it's at the end.
Crossflow or something.
Crossflow, yeah. And he's like, that's the way we used to do it. Take the air suit. We don't have the hookup. We don't have it. Like, I go, you guys used to paint without a mask? He's like, with a fucking cigarette in your mouth. in your garage with your garage cracked open and 2 box fans.
He said, I've done that.
Yeah, and he said, he goes, he showed me some car from the Oakland Roadster show in like the late 60s, and I see that thing, and he goes, I know that guy. He painted it in a single car garage with a joint in his mouth with no respirator, and I was just like, damn. But like,
and that was the hard shit back in the day. They were breathing the enamels and fucking lacquers and shit.
Yeah. But you know, when you start to hear that shit, you just have that thing where you're like, I can do this.
It's kind of like when you learn things by the book, then you don't know the book of what you can get away with, right? And so I don't know if it's better to learn it that way or not, like the way you learned. But you know, I grew up in a shop where that's what we were doing, like plastic up on the wall, throw the water down.
Yep.
Fan doesn't work anymore, so we go buy a box fan from Walmart.
Yep.
And you know, that's where the shop that I first started in paint. I was forced to sand cars as a kid because my dad needed cheap labor.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, dude, I've painted in the most wildest shit I've ever, you know, craziest shit before.
Right.
You know, and it's never necessarily garnered a worse or better paint job.
Right.
It's just like when you have all the shit, it's just easier. It's faster. It's,
totally.
It just rolls. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So,
yeah, it's same vibe, man. I like I told you before we started the camera, I was painted. You do 2 coats of clear, and you put them on right, and you don't sand and polish. This guy, he'd made AC Cobra aluminum bodies by hand. Oxyacetylene welded aluminum, right? All hand finished. This guy, Stuart Hall, he taught, I don't know why, at night at the college. And when it was time to bodywork that thing, it was the skim coat, you know, and then he would paint it, and it was perfect. So the first car I painted was a little Fiat, and someone I was working with, there's 3 of us doing it, had leaned on the car to wipe something with a dirty hand. So we're painting this thing, and we get to the hood last, and there's just a perfect handprint. And I see the dude looking through the booth window, and he shuts it down. He's like, start over tomorrow.
damn.
I just start completely over. So the first tank I ever dripped, I was like, well, start over. And I told my friend, maybe it's the dude Manuel, he's all, hey bro, just wet sand that shit and polish it. And I go, what do you mean? And he's just like, what the fuck do you mean? You
learn like a military way of doing it.
But then, like with the bikes, I learned just in the garage.
Yeah.
The way we, most of us learn. But I mean, thank God for that school. All my skate friends, and you might have heard me say this on something else, like skaters love to party. Mm-hmm. I'm 27, 28 years old, prime time, go out, chase girls, party. Mm-hmm. But that was expensive. And I'm always been real frugal with my money. So signing up for that class and having free material and being contained for those hours, I'd bring a tall can, and we had like a little 15-minute drink. I'd smash the tall can, listen to some music, and painting with a little buzz is a little bit better painter probably after a little steadier. But like I'd just do that, and that was like my thing. I'd drive home and fucking do it all the next day and skate in the day, skate my ramp, and then go to school at night.
So what did they have you doing? Like what was like, if you're not like doing, going to do demos and things like that, what was your jobs in the professional skate space?
That's a good question for anyone that doesn't know that game. In skating now, you got the dudes that do contests, and then, in all honesty, this will sound weird to people, sometimes the most popular dude never enters a contest. He films a video part, and it's insane, right? He focuses it on that. He's not doing the same trick down the same thing every weekend to make his 10 grand or whatever. Yeah. With the monster sticker or whatever. He's in the streets with his filmer and a photographer trying to get a clip at a spot no one's ever seen. Little more rare in vert to be that way, but I learned real quick, shoot an ad for your sponsors, be it Vans or Reel or whoever, make it look good, make sure it's perfect. The flip is perfect, or the way you're grabbing. And I had a really cool friend, Gabe, that shot all the ads, and then do interviews for the magazine. Dude, you sell more boards right then than if you get 5th place at the X Games, right? Who remembers that?
Yeah, because it was Thrasher magazine and all the other little
Yeah.
You know, the ones that we would get back in the day too. You know,
Slap, Transworld,
all
those magazines. You know, you get
it
a
was
cut.
Transworld. That was the main one.
Yeah, Transworld and Thrasher were there's like down south was Transworld and up here was Thrasher.
For real.
It was kind of a little, thing, kind of.
It's always had a competition.
There's always some beef. But, I got a cover of Thrasher, a cover of Slap. Never had a Transworld cover. Was supposed to do an interview and I just kind of slept on it. But, the editor of Thrasher was like my mom's boyfriend and one of my best friends. So there was some hostility there. But when you do that stuff, everyone, that's like burned into your brain. This like, oh, that photo of so-and-so doing a frontside ollie on the brick banks in Brooklyn or wherever it is. Like there's those moments. And I realized real quick is I'm not going to beat Tony Hawk. I'm not going to beat Bob Burnquist. And then there was just those dudes. They were machines at contests. Yeah. So there's 60 of you. The goal was to get top 10. So then you made the finals. Once I got 10th, I was like, fuck it, I'm good. And then hopefully I think once I qualified first once or twice, and probably the best in one of those big contests was like 5th. Mm-hmm. Bro, I was happier than shit. Maybe you get $1,000. But it's work, you got to fly. I remember flying to Cleveland once and I was just like, it kept raining and then the ramp would dry. It was raining and I was just like, fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
For what? To tell someone they say dropping in now, you have 45 seconds to perform. The crowd doesn't care. They want to see Tony Hawk. Or maybe he's not even there. They just don't care. It's vert.
They want to see whoever's on the video game.
Yeah. It just, it was just one of those things where I was like, this doesn't make sense. I think about it with choppers, unfortunately, like, there's a bike show nearly every month. And
every weekend, I'd be honest.
Yeah, I was gonna say it, and then I was like, well, maybe I'll pull back. But for me to put gas in the van and to show up for everyone, like I've always wanted to go to Mama Tried, and I've never gone. Like I don't really love to go to a show without a bike, and like buddies will fly there and just party for the weekend and that's cool. But like, you want to kind of show your thing. For me to get out there, that's like a couple of grand by the end of it, hit some snow in a van that's a fucking not 4-wheel drive. Like, the whole thing. Yeah. I'm thinking.
You got a couple mountains you got to pass.
Yeah. And like I'm saying, dude, I grew up with very little. So like my little shop and my things, like this is my shit. This is my future, and this is what I do, and it's a priority. Going to the show could, what's it called? Not sabotage that, but like put me behind financially. And I could sell more shirts and I could sell more stuff, but like that's not who I want to be either. Yeah. Like my main goal is to be inspired to build bikes. And on Monday you're inspired, and sometimes on Tuesday you're not.
Yeah.
So like the less I surround myself by it, the more inspired I usually am, because when this is my caveat to me right here. I figured this out 2 years ago. When I got into this shit, I feel like it was just me. I was inspired by Cole and Jason, but then I'm in my garage. And so it wasn't like a party thing or a social thing. And I didn't know a magazine would ever shoot. It was just for me. And that's kind of how it always sits with me. Like the more I'm around people in the scene, the more I like want to come back and critter in my hole or get on my bike and like go on one of my little rides I like.
Yeah.
Like people lone wolf or loner, it's like real romantic. It's not even that. There's something wrong with me. Yeah. Like I just like to be kind of like, there's no tunes on right now because we're doing this, but there's always tunes on. And, like when the Coulter Wall album came out, I was like, man, this is fucking good. Yeah. I want to build a bike to this, like that kind of stuff. Or you see a movie or a documentary and you're like, I'm kind of fired up right now.
Yeah.
I saw a band the other night and I was like, man, I'm kind of like, I want to go home and work in the shop right now. Yeah. That's what I'm always looking for. And
that makes sense. I've actually been going down that rabbit hole too, and trying to find ways to constantly inspire you to be creative. Like it's not like it's like we're always playing these tricks with us, trying to get a hold of the switch,
right,
to come on and off, right?
Right.
Because like, man, I don't have anything going on. I wish that thing would come on
right
in here, and I would just have this something would come out, right? But also to your note about like your local routes around here, it's like I feel like when you have a city like this and you have vistas that this city has, you know, like it's always humbling. You know what I mean?
It's true.
So it's like anytime, like, you know, whether it be your ego or you know, it's just like a ride and a view can change your perspective on everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, I was friends kind of going through some shit mentally, and his problems were bigger than all of our problems, but they weren't. And I said to him, I was like, hey man, it sounds so cliche, but we are grains of sand on this spinning dust bowl. Mm-hmm. And what you just said was so cool. I go up on that hill and I see how many fuckers live right here. Mm-hmm. And I see that bridge that they built and how beautiful it is to the city. And then I see the Golden Gate Bridge and I see, you know, SF, and I'm just like, we ain't shit. You know, we play one on TV, you know, or like, you know, I've been putting stuntman on occupation. Like I just had to get a new passport. It says stuntman because like no one knows who the stuntman is. I just think, and I was kind of at one point. But I never know what to put on there, you know, like welder, fabricator, painter, bike builder, skateboarder. Like it's always so weird.
It's like calling yourself an artist. It's like something you feel like somebody else should do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But you're up on that hill and you're like, first of all, usually I say, man, I'm a lucky fucker to live here. Mm-hmm. Then you see my property taxes and you say, you're unfortunate fucker that you have to live here. But it's a really beautiful place, and there's a lot of beauty to be pulled from it, and there's a lot of cool shit going on here.
Dude, the graffiti out here is so badass.
It's pretty bonkers.
And even when like I came in across the San Rafael Bridge, is that what it is? And there was like some mill looking thing that was just tattooed in graffiti.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, that's fucking rad. And it's like, I don't know, I love that shit. When you come to hell, when I was coming into Portland, last time I rode around it, I never saw the city, and I was like, fucking rad city, man. Yeah. Tucked on a hill, just, you know, nice little vibe to it. It's like I love that shit, man.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's the thing with the machine. Like we talked about earlier. I have a friend that started walking everywhere, and he's like, dude, have you ever seen this house down there? Like he's at a different pace, right? On the old bike, I'm thinking about gas every 70 miles too. So I still look at a paper map a lot of the time just to be like, because the digital one doesn't make sense sometimes, but it makes you look at things a different way. And that, you know, skateboarding, you can only skate so fast, but like when we'd skate through the city, you see things in a different perspective. Yeah. And as soon as you travel a bunch and you come back to your spot, you either probably dig it or don't, right? I always like coming back here. Up until little, you know, people drive like fucking trash here on the wrong side of the road, and the hyphy movement and the door's wide open. Like it's all good. Express yourself. But there's things that it's just so dangerous. You know, dudes doing 110 through stop signs. That stuff will get to you when you're pulling up to it and you're like, damn, I'm toast. I'm done. I can't
do nothing about that.
That's a caprice, you know? That shit is like every once in a while, if I come home and I'm like, man, real sick trip. And then that happens, you're just like, get me out of here. Like take me to the mountains, or that's a bummer. Like I never thought I'd say that shit.
I always feel like when I go to certain places like New York or LA, and honestly here, when I'm closer to the city, not like out in the valley there, I always feel like I'm plugged into something more energetic, more electrifying. Yeah. And, you know, being from Texas, you know, out in the center of the country, it's like, you know, I come out here, I'm ready to go. And then, you know, you got all the guys out in California, like on a different pace. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's like, fucking let's do it. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, man, the vistas out here, what you said about the speeds that you go, it's like, I'm starting to get to that point too, where like, I start to notice things differently. Like I drive through cities now when I have free time to just see if there's a cool spot I might be able to shoot pictures at one time. Right. Or maybe me and the boys will ride through here next year. Right. And we'll get this spot. You know what I mean? I did that at Kansas City in Iowa. I mean, on my Iowa trip in January, I was like, never been there. And I never even went to Kansas City because I found what they call the West Bottoms. Right. And it's just like this historical area that's ran down, but it's like art's taken over.
Oh, neat.
And it's pretty wild. So if people listen, like go look at it, go look that shit up. It's like,
it's literally like the bottom, and then Kansas City's up on a fucking cliff.
Whoa.
And there's like this long bridge, looks kind of like an aqueduct that comes down to it.
Yeah.
And all these buildings look like they're, vacant and shit. But then you look at the bottom, one's like a theater and one's like a
Whoa.
metal bar, and one's, got a little bit of something going in there. There's one bike shop, looks like they're rough. You know what I mean? Kind of shit.
Yeah.
But it's just got a vibe, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I know, like, the minute I would leave this, like, dude, I can go get the best barbecue in the world right down the way. Like, I love food.
Yeah.
First, I'm skinny as hell, but I love food. And I love music. Like I saw Tommy Guerrero, the skater, play. Just got the call, hey, bro, I'm playing at this little bar up the street. That's when I wanted to go home and work on the bike.
Nice.
I'm watching him play, room full of people just fucking vibrating, pulsating. And I'm like, this is fucking sick. That took me, Rachel and I went, took me 8 minutes to get there.
Yeah.
I would miss that. The city does kind of keep you young, but man, I'll like throw my back out or hurt myself and I'll be shuffling around. I'm like, fuck, I hope I don't, like, no one steps to me right now. That feeling? Because you're in the middle of that moving thing. But that's when my mom moved to Oakland and we moved here, I learned a lot. You learn how to carry yourself and you learn how to like kind of go with the flow because it's moving. And if you're not.
When y'all moved here, did you move to San Francisco first and then over to here?
She moved, my dad moved to the suburbs. We're from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. But my dad moved to the suburbs and my mom, she moved to Oakland, found a place, then moved to San Francisco. So we did do some time in San Francisco. In fact, I got vibe surfing the other day and the guy's like, where are you from? And I'm like, I'm from Oakland. And he's like, that's not San Francisco. And I was like, fuck, dude, do I have to tell you every address? Like, you're just acting like a cop out here. But we did spend a lot of time in the city in San Francisco, and it was cool. Like you said, graffiti, like I love like 80s graffiti. Or what I call civilian graffiti, when someone would just be
just
like,
bombs.
Ronald Reagan is a communist and have some, like just like weird political shit too. But, that and punk rock was really vibrating in the city at that point too. But yeah, Oakland was, my mom moved here when I was 13. So.
Yeah, I remember watching that stuff and, you had the skate ramp in the house. Like, how did that come about? Like, did you already have a passion for skating and she was trying to reinforce that, or did it just kind of?
No, it was weird. Like, this is where you go, like, if you look at your life and you go like, man, how did these things happen?
Yeah.
Like someone's pushing you somewhere, right? Like, I started skating and I started skating at my dad's house in the suburbs, and you build a ramp in the suburbs and the neighborhood complains and then it gets torn down. Tried to build a ramp at my dad's house. The neighbor said yes. Then we're in court over the thing. My mom always lived in, like I live in a corner store now. She lived in one corner store in the city. She was just looking for low rent places where she wasn't going to get jacked. So she lived in an old brewery. The Hams Brewery had the vats where they made the beer, and all the punkers illegally squatted in the vats. Well, next to it, you could rent like a fat space, like 2,000 square feet for $300.
Yeah.
But you had a urinal to go to the bathroom in, right? It was like, depending on which bathroom you got in your space.
Yeah.
Hers happened to have 15 toilets in it. So we just had, and it's just the coolest place. But so she always lived in weird places. Then she's living in an old bar with no windows. And she's like, man, this is kind of dark and gloomy. And, she heard about this spot in West Oakland. It was a giant ironworks building, and for pennies, $800, you get 5,000 square feet with 60 to 80 foot ceilings. But it's just a box. They had separated an old foundry into these blocks. So like our neighbors, my one neighbor was a piano mover. The other was like 30 punkers with crazy structures, like straight Burning Man inside their house. And then there was a scrapyard here, indoor scrapyard.
Yeah.
Cypress Auto Supply. It's still around, but the building's gone. But so we had that spot and we had all this open space. And she's like, well, you guys can build a ramp in here. My brother skated and her boyfriend skated. So it was just kind of on, but it wasn't the chicken or the egg thing. She wasn't like, here's a spot where you can build a ramp. She was just like, she weaves and she makes these crazy huge weavings. And she's like, man, I could make the world's biggest weaving and hang it in this place.
Yeah.
It was just kind of, it went with her vibe, man. She's not an anarchist, but she doesn't follow the rules.
Yeah.
And, but man, that first time we came, like I got jumped. My brother was in the liquor store. He came out and saved my ass, but I gave a kid the finger for trying to like take me down on my skateboard. You know, I was a white boy in an all black neighborhood. It was just, I learned real quick. Gun pointed to my head early on. But then once they knew, and I've said this in other interviews, once they knew we had a TV
Skater
with
kid,
rabbit ears, you know, it was just we just had a lot more space was the thing. But like we froze our asses off every winter, and every summer we were in a tin building boiling. So it wasn't ideal, but I wouldn't trade it for the world.
You know what's funny about that? Like those circumstances, like I've always thought, looking back at my last, you know, I'm 40 this year, so my last 20 years of being a official adult, and I always think about some of the worst places I've ever been, and I always think like, well, man, this one aspect of that was pretty rad though.
Yep.
And so it's almost like you want to get out of these spots and kind of grow and do better, but man, like I really appreciated those times, simpler times, you know what I mean? Or just where I could be in my head at that time. I didn't have all the responsibility or, you know, or to learn this for the first time again kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. I was listening to a podcast with Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, you know, cause he's kind of into bikes right now. And
he is?
Yeah. He bought a pretty sick chopper from this dude in Japan. But I saw a clip of him riding it and everything. It just seemed like a sick dude, you know? And I listened to this thing, and he's been on heroin and through all kinds of shit. And he said the hardest times in his life made him exactly who he is. Like they formed the best things about him, you know? And I was like,
that's a good point.
It's kind of true, you know?
Yeah.
Everything, our one friend says, nothing cool is easy. And it's as funny as that sounds, if you really break it down, you know, like nights before bike shows or whatever, when you're just like, I'm over it and your hands are bleeding and your eyes fucking sting and all that stuff, you know, all of a sudden you have one of these in your hand and you're at the show and you're looking at your bike and you're just like, I did it. You know, like, that feels good. And all your buddies are kind of in that same boat. That's the best moment. Yeah,
it is, man. You know, at one point in time, I didn't really know how to manage my time very well. So it was like overload of work. I didn't know how to say no. I didn't know how to turn things away. And it'd be like running till 3 a.m. every day, go home, wake back up. You're back at the shop at 10 and it's grind. No time off for a month and a half straight, 2 months, just to have a weekend off at a show. You know what I mean? Right. And I couldn't do it now. I don't think I have it in me anymore, but I still think about those times like, I'm amazed that I was able to do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But also it was like, you put this shit on such a pedestal that like when you went there, like you were just plugged in more, if you will.
Yeah.
You know, like you appreciated it more because you worked so hard to be there.
Totally.
So I don't know.
Yeah, man. I mean, you know, it's one more cliche thing, skating, you know, I've heard like famous people that don't skate say this: we try and we fail and we try and we fail and we try. I mean, dude, I tried 540s for years, could spin them perfectly. I was too chicken shit to put it down. Then I started putting it down, shooting out and breaking my ass. And then one day I landed one on accident. It's in a video. It's in a real video. No one knew. I just played it off. Like, woohoo, yeah.
I meant to do that.
Yeah, I meant to do it. Which I did kind of, but I kind of didn't either.
I didn't think you would.
Tried way harder. But you get so used to failing, you know, you learn that lesson. Like, no one's gonna, I would think sometimes like, maybe I'll just land, you know, every once in a while you might get lucky and land, but like you got to put in the work. You got to take the slam.
Yeah.
And I think that's why sometimes skaters become like businessmen or own big companies or are successful in other things, because from the age of 12, you've just been like trying. The generation I see now, like so plugged in, and the video game thing or like shoes. Like as much as I like, you know, I've designed a shoe for Vans and all that stuff and got to help with clothing stuff or the whites boots thing's amazing. I hate streetwear. Yeah. Like I don't get it. You know, it's like if it's not built for something, what's the point? You know, like shit, a leather jacket was for like riding to keep you safe. It just is kind of corny to me, and sorry if I offend anyone. It just, I don't quite get it, you know? Yeah. And now I see even more like it's just a consumer. We're losing kids to this stupid shit, you know, to just stuff.
Yeah, that's 100% accurate. It's, you know, on the thing you were talking about with skaters, the whole trying over and over and, you know, I never in my life landed a 360 flip, but I probably spun that motherfucker around at least 10,000 times. You know what I mean?
Right.
And on that notion that it makes someone better, it's like they'd always say, like growing up, that like kids that were in sports, they learn discipline.
Right.
But I think kids that skated and took it seriously, they learned a different type of discipline. Yeah. Like you know, not a discipline to authority because they were their disciplinarian.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's a good point. Yeah,
so,
I like that.
No coach. I got to do this in myself.
Right.
And I think that's why you see a lot of people either they're super talented, and like I said, I'm getting this through watching Epically Latered,
right?
Seeing all these skaters that I grew up watching, and seeing the ones that have gone on to make other businesses, or you know, mentor other kids coming up in skating, or people that just went off the rails. You know what I'm saying? So.
No, I think sometimes the coach thing, you start doing it for your coach, right? Yeah. Like Jake, that dude, trust me, I wanted to impress him. I wanted to like do an air higher than him when he could do an air higher than me. I want to be like flex on him a little bit. Yeah. But then I would skate by myself a ton too and just try shit. You know, I remember knocking my tooth out Thanksgiving Day right in front of my mom, right when she pulled the turkey out. She had, this one's fake. But I was just skating by myself, like trying to kickflip Indy over and over and over. And I did it. I was like, hey, Mom, check it out. Under rotated, wham, knocked my tooth out. And you're like, fuck. But that was that stuff. It was for no one but myself.
Yeah.
And I think I should probably spend like a drive to LA and back breaking that one down in my head. But like what exactly that builds in you. But it's when you're doing it for the coach, I think eventually when you get an older age, you probably lose that. When you don't have that person telling you, you're kind of lost.
Yeah.
I still have this thing like of trying to impress myself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's what I think that's what the mentality of skating, right? Because, yeah, you want to be able to do it for the homies whenever y'all go to the skate spot later, right? But, I mean, I started skating, I already had a car. So I was able to, you know, all the other dudes that were still – I played basketball in high school, and then I quit in 11th grade and started skating.
Damn.
And so all the kids that were skating with me were in 8th grade, right? Okay. But I was like, fuck, I want to be around people that are skating.
Yeah.
Like, and then next thing you know, I'm the guy taking them to downtown Dallas at 3 a.m.
Right.
And I'm like, fuck, I'm going to get in trouble. Like, I got minors. I'm kind of a minor. Like, we're at 3 a.m., you know.
Right.
But some of the raddest things in my life, and I've talked about on the podcast before, were going to the downtown Dallas at 3 a.m., and skate until the sun came up and watching the world start to turn back on.
That's cool.
While we were sitting on top of a roof at a parking garage eating donuts from one of the places that opened at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, like.
You paint a good picture, dude. You're really good at that.
Yeah.
I mean, I have almost the exact memory. Yeah. I can see exactly what you just spelled out. And it's beautiful.
Yeah, dude, it was amazing. But with that, you know, what I was getting to with that was, I think a lot of those times of me trying to learn a trick or trying to get something down, like that goal, you know what I mean? Because realistically, it's a goal. I want to land this trick.
Totally.
I want to clear that gap and things like that. And, you know, I think that's why I need a goal to chase. I need a thing to do.
Yeah.
And sometimes that thing needs some inspiration to fuel it, to make it happen.
Right.
And so it's like you're finding all these different things about you. It's like combustion. You need a little bit of air, a little bit of gas, and then squeeze that shit together.
Yep.
You know
Sometimes people will say like, hey man, why do you do the Born Free show? You know, what are they doing for you? You know, and like I like Mike and Grant. Like we've had our ups and downs, but I do respect them, and they put on a hell of a show. And I've always said this, I can't even throw a barbecue at the house for 10 friends without fucking something up.
Yeah.
So respect to them. But the main reason I do it is because it's a push and there's a date and you got to do it.
Yeah.
And you're going to look like a clown if your shit isn't right when you get there. And that's, there's a lot of people that just build bikes right before the deadline, right? Or my customer's on the fucking phone. You know, I gave a customer his cash back once, rolled his shit back to him. It's like, sorry.
Yeah.
You know, fuck it. I'm not your bitch. I'm working for you, but like this shit takes time. But with the show thing, you're sometimes building a bike that you can't sell because it's too weird. You know, it's too crazy. Like you're trying to out fucking wow the next guy, especially with choppers. But having that goal, like in the drawer, I save all the cardboard boxes and it says like fuel line, oil line, petcock, these nuts and bolts, need this. And you get
crossing
to
them out,
dude, like with the orange bike, you know, I was early for the first time in my life for Born Free because I wanted to ride there. And I was like, I got to shake it down for a week. And about a week before, I was like, there was that weird feeling where I looked at these pieces of cardboard and I was like, hey, I'm done. Like I'm almost done. I get to like put little tchotchkes on here and like just dress this thing up or polish something, or there was one little thing that wasn't quite right. I get to tweak on that right now.
Yeah.
That shit, that was like learning a skate trick.
That's what I was about to say, because I was like thinking about that feeling while you were telling me that. I was like, that's what it feels like to land something. Because you work on it forever, and then finally, you know, like finally you got all the things checked off. Now you're opening the door, you're pushing it out, you're starting it. You're questioning yourself. Yeah. Man, should I ride this thing? Everything good? Did I tighten that? Like, fuck, did I do this? And then you take it around the block and like, feels good. I'm going to go around a bigger block. Yeah. And then you start spiraling out, man. And then, it's like I remember it, you know, so many times in my life I've got to have that experience a lot of times with motorcycles, and you're chasing a high with that for sure.
Big time.
You know, I usually with me, one of my things I used to inspire me is like I have a very vivid imagination. It's always helped me be creative and draw and things like that. So I can literally almost like a picture in my head, close my eyes and imagine what I think I look like ripping this bike that I'm not even done yet on PCH or across Arizona or, you know, said place and said part of the country. Right. And I end up chasing that idea, that dream. And that's kind of like my motivation to get to it. Right. So
do you draw your bikes before you build them?
Yeah.
Yeah. 100% like color and everything.
So what I started doing, I used to like try to just hand draw it. So it was all out of proportion, but now I got the iPad technology. Okay. And then I could just sketch the bike, the whole thing, and then I'll print it out and then I'll color it like with markers and shit. Yeah. And that way I can kind of get an idea of like what kind of color scheme, the balance of it. Cause you know, baggers and Dynas and FXRs, and there's just a lot more color on it than like, you know, your typical 3-piece chopper frame kind of thing. But I mean, I like that because I have a old 1950 tanker desk in my garage. It's got, I like to see, I'm a table junkie. I'm gonna get to that real quick. I got a table in my shop that I painted certain bikes on that I feel like has something in it that I can't throw it away. I don't use it anymore. It's got, I literally throw my keys on it every day because I got better ones now. But that one I just can't get rid of. And this desk that I got in my garage, you know, I got a drawer, pull out all my markers and pull out paper and just start sketching. And I feel like I've sketched some of my best work in my life over the last 4 years I've had this table. And so like now I'm like, fuck, I can never get rid of this thing. You know, this is... It's like a placebo effect myself into I'm only allowed to draw on this table.
That's Superman's cape right there.
Exactly. So I don't know. I try not to get all woo-woo with that shit, but it's like it does feel good to do that. You know, like to see the things. I mean, you got a lot of things in your shop, a lot of trinkets, a lot of, I'm assuming memories. You know, everything that gets hung on the wall, at least you had a memory hanging that motherfucker on the wall, right?
Totally.
And when you surround yourself with that, and when you see your shop going from the empty walls to, you know, there's this, you got that, you got, and then you just walk into this inspiration of your history. You know what I'm saying?
True, man. It's
you got a fucking nice tank collection going on, dude.
I don't even do it anymore. That's just from like over the years, and sometimes people be like, "What's up with the tank wall?" And I'm like, more than anything, it was just a place to put them. I went to a shop when I was younger, and the guy had a big poster. He had a bunch of posters of himself on the wall, all his magazines and his, you know, Lady Bloom up. And I was kind of like, you know, there's a code in skating. You don't, when I was, you know, coming up, you didn't ride your own board with your name on it, and you definitely didn't wear your own shirt. So if it was like a Max Schaaf, you like huge no.
Yeah.
Certain dudes would, and you're kind of like, well, that's that dude.
Yeah.
He don't get it. And I remember I looked at this dude's shop and I was like, man, that's like a lot of pictures of yourself on the wall. And I kind of was like, I get it, because it feels good, you know, that first magazine cover or whatever. But like, you will rarely see me in 4Q gear, and it's fucked because I just made new hats and they look good, and I want to wear my 4Q hat. And you probably think I'm crazy for saying that, but it's like one of those things left over from skating where you like don't blast yourself on yourself.
Yeah.
It's not like it says, like, you know, some of these guys have like Joe Blow choppers and it's a picture of Joe Blow and they're Joe Blow's wearing the hat.
Yeah.
Like sometimes that gets a little bit weird to me. But for me with 4Q, you know, it's like, it's just a 4Q hat. Wear your damn hat. But with my shop, I remember I seen that and I was like, well, I get it. You know, the dude's pumped on that cover and that article. But like, I kind of want to put stuff on my walls, historic, like the Sonny Barger and Terry the Tramp. Like those are all old Roth posters that were, those guys are Oakland members. Look up and like, that's a piece of the history of my town with the shit that I'm into. And trust me, I've been down here high or buzzed and got the lights dimmed perfect, and I'm sitting in the corner and I tell her I'll be back up in 15 minutes. Sometimes it's 3 hours. She's like, well, that was 3 hours.
Yeah.
I watched 3 episodes of The Sopranos or whatever, but I'm just down here getting those chills.
Yeah.
And like, man, this week I want to knock out this and this.
Yeah. I know what you're saying about the whole, like, you know, putting yourself out there that way. You know what I mean? It feels weird. I have in my studio, I have a picture of me and friends on a bike trip.
Hell yeah.
And I have one picture that a photographer that we randomly ran into in Monument Valley.
Okay, yeah.
He shot my bike with me standing behind it, and that's the only picture I really got in there. But
that's on a trip, a good time.
Yeah, so that's we talk about the bike so much that it's like a joke now, you know, because it's the only bike I really ever built to certain people, and so that's why it's in there. I put things in there to make conversation. I got a huge fucking, like the size of your door, poster of Harley Davidson and Marlboro Man.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of David Mann stuff on one wall and some pictures that I actually took of other people on my travels. That just like when you're in there, you're in my space. Like, there's like, you know, that's like the only place I feel like I get to decorate, you know, can't do it at home. And then, but yeah, I know what you mean about that. I remember I told this story a lot too. I rode with Yellow Wolf once.
Right.
And we were sitting at this little gas station, little taco kind of, you know, in the corner of the gas station thing. We're all eating. And his ringtone was his own song. And it weirded me out.
Right.
Like I was like, what happened was we're all eating. You know, I'm not trying to nerd out and like, oh man, so what's it like to, you know, be a rapper?
Yeah.
And then I'm just eating and then his phone goes off and I look up and I'm trying to make eye contact with somebody else. Like,
y'all getting
isn't
this?
that weird?
Yeah.
You know, and nobody looked up. Like, it's like, you know, it's like,
yeah.
I don't know. I've always thought that.
I think that's the skater in you, to tell you the truth. But that's like a cool, I remember when then dudes started riding, like Mike Carroll or someone who I looked up to started riding their own boards again. And I was like, all right, we've relaxed a little bit, you know? That was
where do you draw the line between like these things that you develop in your head as a young man? Yeah. You know? And then when you add adulthood to it,
it's a great
when
question.
you add a wife or perhaps a kid to it.
Yeah.
And then a credit score.
Yeah.
Like, where do you draw the line between what's, you know, we were talking about this before, what's selling out, what's acceptable to still be.
That's a really great question, because we all got to pay our bills, right?
Yeah.
Like I have a mortgage. And you say that sometimes. Like, I've never raffled a bike. And I remember at first I was like, man, this shit's going to ruin bike building, because for $100 you can win a bike. And if it fucking the front wheel falls off, you paid $100 for it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a title or whatever, you know, like when that happened, I was a straight up hater. I was like, this is fucking whack. It's corny. They're getting too much money. straight up calling myself out. I was just hating because I was like, you know, we have our little precious thing and it's got to stay this way. Don't wear your own shirt. All this stupid stuff that, you know, that being said, people need to make money, and it's a really quick way to triple your money. Right around that time, I got a new customer that was like, bro, I want you to build me a couple bikes and I'm going to pay you. And do your thing, do your Max 4Q thing. Just cosmic intervention, you know, where I didn't have to go down that road.
Yeah.
That is a weird world that I believe in and I live in. And I believe you get led where you're supposed to be. There's a lot, and I wanted to touch on this. There's a lot of really talented chopper builders. There's this guy, Junior's Handmade. He's entered Born Free. He did well. He builds beautiful bikes. My friend Marcus, he builds Terminal Speed. He's from Cleveland, but he lives up in the foothills now. Hell of talented. Builds his motors, gets down. Do they have the following that they deserve? Not really. But I don't even know what that means anymore, right? Because you could do exactly what I do and you could try to be a carbon copy. It's not going to work, right? Because it already exists. So everyone's just kind of trying to figure it out. And I think everyone thinks everyone makes a lot more money than they do. Life-changing moment for me, I did a Mountain Dew commercial. Jumped a skateboard through a window. I made 17 grand because they played it during the Super Bowl. I went from having $600 in a bank account to 17 grand. I heard about a house in Oakland that was 27 grand. It had no roof on it. I bought that house, had a $350 mortgage for like whatever, 5 or 15 years. It didn't matter. That changed my life forever. That single moment, because now I can own a house in Oakland and do what I love and not have to like worry quite as much. I just got to jump on it. You know, I just got to jump on that game. I was like into real estate and like, I knew what was going to happen in Oakland. I really did. Look how close it is to San Francisco. Yeah. San Francisco is full. They're going to come over here. I'm the first stop over the bridge. It's common sense. Yeah. But that, you know, that hustle, you got a baby on the way and you see everyone, oh man, I got a 58 Impala. I got to sell it. Yeah. It's my fucking pride and joy. We've all seen our friends do that shit. For me, with merchandise or whatever, I just don't want it to be gross. I don't want to be like shoving it down everyone's faces. I don't want to like just do a bunch of old logos out of an Easy Rider and you know, it's cool. Those are great logos, but like for the most part, I did bite one old Easy Rider logo, but aside from that one, it's all original art. That's just a little fluff that helps the chopper get built, right? But it's not, that's not what I do, you know? My priority is to build a bike and build it the best that I can and make it look the way I like. There's so many dozens of guys that are better than me. I'll be the first one to tell you. I look up to people way younger than me that are doing cool shit. Yeah. That's how it should be, you know?
Yeah. You're looking up to for the love of what it is. Like it, you know, I love this. I love that things are still happening. And it's the same thing, you know, taking it back to skateboarding again. I guess it's a common theme here. Yeah. You know, if you love something, when you see other people coming up in it, you know, there might be a little bit of this, man, I wish I was, you know, I wish I still could do this. Yeah. You know, but at the same time, you're glad that it's still growing and going. Yeah. That's a hard one, man, about like just how do you do it? Like, where do you go? Like I struggle with a lot of that stuff. I'm an overthinker. You know, I kind of get into that mind space of like, I want to do shirts because I see everybody's making money doing them, but man, I want my shit to be special though. Right. You know what I mean? So like, how do I do this, but make it to where it's like, I feel like even my shirt is a piece of the art that I want to put in the world. Right. And I know I sound fucking goofy right now, but that's kind of the truth. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, it all, in all reality, dude, it should all matter, right? Yeah. It's the thing you get to do. Like the world needs ditch diggers, right? Like, you've had shitty jobs. I've had shitty jobs. soon as you start thinking about, like, I wanted to open, my mom owns a nightclub. Like, at one point I was going to open a bar. I was like, man, it's just going to be so much fucking drama.
Yeah.
You know, it's just be so much shit. And then you know it, got to stay up late and got to do all this other shit. Doing this stuff and having people want it, not every day, because I get distracted, but it's a blessing. And that's what I said earlier. Like, when I looked at your page, I was like, this is a little different audience, but like, the first thing everyone says is it's freedom, right? Why do you ride a motorcycle? Oh man, it's freedom. Describe freedom. I just be doing whatever you want, you know, whatever it is, right? It's all kind of along that same thing. Well, if I show up in a fucking purple tutu on my neon orange knucklehead, because I'm a fucking individual and I believe in freedom, that's not going to go over too well. Right? Because, you know, and that I've gotten
in our scene, I think it would work okay. We love that shit. So. we don't like the too serious bikers.
Right. Well, you know, like there are plenty of people that is where their ego and their machismo is tied up. Yeah. And when you'll hear the hipster word a lot, some fucking hipster on a Sportster. Hey man, I know it annoys me too sometimes, but like, that person most likely is chasing the same thing. They just got a different job than you and dress a certain way. Like, I don't ever think it should be so cookie cutter. Yeah. And I took so much shade for being a skateboarder in the beginning of this. I kept it really separate. Yeah. I was like, I skated and then I did this. I never had the bike at the skate park. Every photographer, hey man, let's take the bike up to the skate park. I'm like, the bike doesn't go to the fucking skate park. I don't put a skateboard on a motorcycle. You know, I do still keep them pretty separate. But when, you know, getting that shade and whenever I go, oh man, I'm pissing some people off because I'm doing it a little bit different. And I'm not a tough guy. You know, how I grew up, there's the toughest motherfuckers in the world and I can't compete with them. So I had to have a sense of humor and some charm. Yeah. I mean, there was plenty of fighting, but it didn't get you anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, another common thing we've been talking about on a couple of episodes, I feel like those people that kind of are offended by what you do, it's because you're challenging their idea of who they are. You know what I'm saying?
Straight up.
It's like
100%.
Well, that dude's getting attention. Everybody loves him. And looks like he's being a clown. And I'm here in my, you know, all my color proper stuff, looking as hard as possible. And they don't like me. So this dude's a fucking chump. He's a hipster. He's everything else in the book. Yeah. But it's really just, it's them that like they're too insecure. Yep. To just, you know, be like, fuck it. You know, and I've been that guy. Right. I've been that guy.
Same. And if it's about freedom, if you're preaching freedom, better let that person be who they want to be. Yeah. Especially if they're not doing you any harm. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's the thing is we're all so ignorant at points in our life and so fucking judgmental. And it all comes from within here. It all comes from your insecurities. Like I said, I turned 50 last week. That's a weird number, man. It's heavy duty, right? Like I feel 27, you know, like I feel the same until I walk to the bathroom at 3 a.m. Then it hurts. But like, I still just want to enjoy life and have fun, just like everybody else.
Yeah, well, 50 is a new 30, though. By the way.
Okay, good. That's what I heard. They're 20. They're taking 20 off now. But yeah, man, it's I wish I could go. You know, people say I wouldn't change a thing. I have no regrets. I've never been that person. Yeah. I have fucking plenty of regrets, and one of them is just being so judgmental or reacting to people's hatred. You know, I've had memes made about me and shit, making fun of me, and like, oh no, you know, it's like, man, that sad person had to sit there and look at my face and adjust it and write something. Like, what a sad little life that you're living. Instead of just like listening to fucking Black Sabbath and getting stoked. You know, there's so much to stoke yourself out on. That's, you know, I've thrown shade.
Yeah, but at the same, I look at like you and whatnot as like someone who, you're in two very, very niche cultures. Right. Right. Skateboarding, when like kind of in the birth of like modern skateboarding, if you will, you know what I mean? And then you got like this chopper thing that kind of the birth of that as well. And rebirth. The rebirth of it, because when you and whoever else was involved at that time, this was like this underlying thing that was taking place in our motorcycle culture that blew up late 2000s and then all through the what are they, the aughts or the teens or whatever the fuck they call it?
The teens.
Yeah. It's like now it's kind of mainstream now.
Right.
Right?
It is.
And skateboarding went from underground to mainstream. And so, I mean, that's got to affect you, right? Because when you're sitting there on that rooftop eating the donuts, watching the worlds come on, this is an experience that everybody else is never going to have, because when they come into it, it's not going to be available to them.
Right.
They're going to come in at a different time or a different angle that just they didn't get to see this thing grow from nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Skating had its thing in the 70s, then it faded, then it got popular. It's real similar. Choppers had the 60s, then it faded, this is the biggest swing it's had for old style choppers since the 60s. And that's that thing, everyone thinks everyone's killing it and getting rich, and the girls at Born Free sure look a lot better probably than at a bike show in the 80s. Yeah. Maybe, probably. I've seen some Daytona photos look pretty good, but there's a whole thing about it.
Breasts got better shape. They had bra technology came a long way.
That might be it. And they got the app to make it all smooth everything out.
Yeah, for sure.
But no, I think I trip on that stuff, like the ebb and the flow, the up and the down, like where we at right now. I remember 6 years ago telling Rachel, this is it. This is as big as it's going to get. And now it's bigger. But still, no one's really...
You know what I think's made it bigger, though? Like, because I've been around it for the last 6 years, since 16, so whatever. I think it's kind of more people have come into it, even though they're not drinking the Kool-Aid per se, like they're all riding choppers, but everything chopper related is bringing every other bike to it. It's the culture, the style that is appealing to everybody else, because it maybe really does represent some freedom, a freedom of like, you're not chasing all the, the brands and the shirts, like you said, the streetwear to look the part. Like you're just, everybody's like uniquely different. If you deep dive, look different. Right. But then if, like someone with a pair of glasses on that's not paying attention, they think everybody's dressing like hipsters and being weird, and they just want vintage everything. And there's definitely those people out there, but I think that no one's looking deep enough to understand that, just like a painter that always dresses in a certain clothes is used to having dirty pants and used to having dirty nails and shit. It's like it some of this bleeds into you. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a weird dude. Last year I saw, I guess, an Instagram ad of a dude with a necklace on. And so I was like, I got to have one.
Right.
And I just I feel like it's the stupidest thing I've ever done, because I'm not a jewelry person at all, but I fucking love it, dude. That's and so I feel cool as shit.
Yeah. I just was looking at necklaces the other day because I seen this young tattooer kid with one, and I was like, man, it looks really sick on him. But it's funny that you just said that. But no, man, it is. You're right. Like at Born Free, sometimes my buddy will go, like, he built a bike, and he goes, look at all the people. How many people do you think really like get it, like what we do? And I'm like, 4%.
Yeah.
4% will tell you like what that is, what you did, and that they get it. And I remember this, a dude in the city, he's a cool dude, but he moved here and he had like an 883 Sportster. Looked like he painted it with crayons and a rattle can, and it had like kind of a trippy paint job. And I had like my bike I'd put fucking years into. And I go to this, just a cute girl at the bar. I go, hey, are those bikes the same? She goes, yeah, those are choppers, right? And I go, yeah. Is one like crazier than the other one? Or you think one's more valuable, or one person put in like a lot more time and craftsmanship? She goes, no, they're the same.
Yeah. And
I was like, fuck.
Well, that's exactly the truth. I mean, that's what happens with paint too. I mean, I get that all the time. I see people, they just see the surface of it. Like, I have paint, so that's just another check off the list of shit you need, right? They don't see quality. They don't see time. Some people do, like you said, the 4%, which is probably awkwardly might be pretty accurate,
right?
Of a guesstimation there you got. But yeah, that's always been a struggle for anybody that creates, because the better you get at creating, it's almost like the more you alienate yourself from the other 96% of the people that don't care or look deep enough to give a fuck.
Right.
You know, and then you know, like I said, the perspective of trying to stay appreciative of the 4% that notice it.
Right.
You know, and not be jaded of the 96% that didn't.
Dude, and you got and this will still fuck me up. You got the influencer person that doesn't turn the wrench, but they kind of pretend they do. And then they're promoting something you like. Mm-hmm. That fucks with my head. Cause you know, we're down here, you know, filling up the bottles down at the welding store, trying to kick them in the cool, you know, with one hand. Yeah. But like, you're doing all the little things, you know, and you're like, man, you just put on the costume and you're saying the right words and like, you're going to profit off this.
So think about it like this. Cause I was in the motorcycles or kind of a little bit after you, but when in 2002, 3, 4, 5, like the motorcycle industry was about the builders. It was never about the fucking Hellenbach shirt company. It was never about strip club choppers. That was just a t-shirt company, I believe. I don't know.
Right.
It was never about those brands. Those brands always just try to piggyback off top of these massive builders. Right.
Right.
And then when internet came, it seems like, and this is all just some hypothetical thing that I thought of, builders are like, man, I weld, I paint, I work with my hands. I don't fuck with these computers. Well, fast forward 10, 15 more years, and all those people that grew up, now they're coming up and they know this shit because their mom handed them an iPad,
right?
You know, and in 06 and shit, right? Now they understand how to use the internet, and the people that know how to do the things that are cool don't know how to do it, and there's nobody to promote it anymore. Right? Think about it. Monster Garage, Biker Build Off, all these shows that used to go chase, you know, talented people to exploit them on magazines, right? At least magazines mainstream in like every Walmart across America. Shit doesn't exist anymore. No. You got the Car World, you got your Gas Monkeys, but nobody focuses on the art or the craftsmanship. They focus on the I'm gonna go tell this dude he wants $4,000. I'm gonna get him down to $2,000. Right. And that's what people, you know. Media has curated the way people tell stories now. They don't tell stories of hard work. They tell stories of how people get over on each other. Yeah. Right. That's the win, weird. The good deal. You know.
I noticed that in old choppers, and this one really trips me out. And for people that aren't into old choppers, you know, there's a thing called a survivor. That's one you find, and it's been sitting in a barn somewhere or whatever, and they wheel it out. There's really good, talented bike builders that have put together survivors and put a lot of love into it. I have one survivor. I changed it a bit.
Where it's kind of like the original way they built it back then?
Yeah, okay. It was missing the tank, and I had heard something was different, so I changed it back. That thing took me a long time to build because I was like trying to do it justice. But there's the dudes that literally like wheel the bike out, and they're like, boom, the survivor. And you're like, cool, you found a cool bike. Mm-hmm. You're good at Craigslist, right?
Yeah.
But I had a dude say it to me the other day, I think I might take the survivor out there. And it was a bike show. And I was like, well, what are you going to say? Are you going to have a sign for the dude that built it originally? Like, I'm not quite sure why you're so proud. You're just wheeling something. But then, like, you know, there's Ryan Grossman found that bike, the Quicksilver, and he put that thing back together like to the T. And I guarantee you that was a pain in the dick to make it perfect. Like, that's a little bit different than just wheeling it out of the guy's garage and putting gas in it and firing it up. But there's two sides to that. But then there literally are people in this bike thing that are just good at Craigslist.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like, okay. And they get a shit ton of validation. And I think that becomes their dope right there. Yeah. They're just like, I found this, I found that. Where before, I think when you were talking about 2003, 2004, I mean, I remember riding down to Paso Robles and wheeling this bike, one of my first bikes in, and I was like, this is my pride and fucking joy. I've spent so much time on it. Be nice, you know, like, whoo. But, you know, I was proud of that thing. I was like, put it out there. It's mostly cars, because it used to be more cars, less bikes. Now I feel like it's more bikes, less cars. But that was all me. Every part of that was all me. And that, you know, that's something to, you know, I wrote this song or I fucking made this food or whatever. Like it was a lot I put into it, where now there is clout in finding something cool.
I think the clout comes from people give attention to the thing they feel like they can become, right? It's
like
easier.
the easier path. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And, I mean, I don't want to start shit with anybody that listens to this and anything, but you know, when I think about, you know, my past and the things I've had to learn how to do to make myself relevant in motorcycles before the internet. And now that the internet's come along, I've played the internet game as much as I know how to, on a podcast. Right.
Right.
It is weird sometimes whenever your competition, or not even competition, but the other people that are also doing the things that have nothing to do with, they didn't grow up building bikes or,
right.
you know, doing crackhead shit to make it through the week and stuff,
right,
you know,
right.
It's just a weird place to be. But that's one of those things. That's my shit though. You know what I mean? Like, cause I can't change the whole fucking world in the way they act. And no matter how many podcasts we do, there's more of them, there's us. So if you just go out there and start talking about this all the time, you're just going to ostracize yourself.
For sure.
You know, so you got to find a way to live with AIDS, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got a Magic Johnson this year.
Yeah. No, dude, I trust me, a few years back, I pigeonholed myself because I was like, you know, that's not right. It's just dumb. You know, it's like I was too proud and I thought it should be one way, that I could control it. And if I told everyone like that guy's a clown or this or that, like, man, they like that guy.
Yeah.
I probably don't see that dude for who they are. Mm-hmm. Too worried about like one experience I had or whatever. It's what we talked about earlier, man. You get a little bit older and you're like, I can't control shit, but I can enjoy this ride. Mm-hmm. You know, last night I play this fucked up game in my head. You might like this. When I can't sleep, I heard you're supposed to clean your room. Mm. Put my socks here. You clean your shop. Oh, fuck, man, I find that extremely boring. But I've been doing this thing with skate tricks alphabetically. I drop in to an alley-oop backside air, right? So I'm A, B. Then I do a crail slide. Then I do a disaster. Then I do an eggplant. Then I do a frontside invert. And by the time I'm at W, which it gets real weird around Q and Z or whatever, I'm tired and I fall back asleep.
Oh shit! Yeah.
But I've been running that thing. But I woke up last night like usual, 2 or 3 in the morning, and I started tripping on something that I saw and some bullshit. Mm-hmm. And I stopped. I sleep right up there, and this is down here. And I fucking took inventory on how fucking lucky I am. Mm-hmm. And that was it. I smiled. I laid there in bed and I was kind of smiling. You know, I just got engaged, whatever. Like how quickly we can just pick up this thing and play the comparison game. Like I said, for kids these days, not only do they have to like see all the stuff and see all the consuming, but they have to like look at people constantly that they think have it better than they do. Yeah. And that's just fucked up, you know? Like it's a blessing to be able-bodied and live in this world, especially if you can. I mean, there's a lot worse places to live. Like, you know, I don't talk politics, but like I'm very proud to be an American. Mm-hmm. I'm like proud of my lineage. I'm proud of like the Irish that came here and built this country. Mm-hmm. Not a popular time in the world to say that, but it's just the fucking truth. Yeah. You know, and that my grandfather was a diesel mechanic. I mean, it skipped my dad and it landed back on me. And, you know, my grandma loved this shit and he smelled like diesel. And she said every morning he'd wake up and there'd just be a stain around him because he smoked Lucky Strikes without the filter. Yeah. But my mom's sister, my aunt, came here and she just gave me a bunch of his tools. And she just said, you know, your grandpa would be so proud of you. That's awesome. And I was like, fuck. You know, like, are you seeing, these are just shitty old motorcycles. But she was just like, I know what it means. She understood what it means to like work with your hands and make stuff. Yeah. And how he was proud to do that. And those are those moments where you're like, I trip on the stupidest shit. And she just said that. And I get to do this, at least for now. Yeah. Like, you know, my end plan when it all fades is I'm going to be the smartest dude at the hardware store. maybe not the smartest, but I'm going to know where everything is because I
Yeah.
go there every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm cool with that. Like
Yeah.
if this whole thing explodes and I'm selling my vans from 2000 on eBay and hustling these parts out and it loses all its value, bro, I'll walk right 5 blocks down to the hardware store. I'll put on my name tag and help you find a toilet plunger.
Did you use a skateboard?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's, you know, dude, it's just, like I said, we get so wrapped up, and
Yeah.
that was the first thing I saw with those machines is this and that road and that calming. You know, I sleep to like that box fan app. It sounds like a box fan's
Yeah.
going,
Same.
you know, there's a real special thing. And I don't care if you're on a Honda or an FXR, a Beamer, whatever it is. Like, I do think you're more connected on a chopper. Like, for all the new bike people out there, like, there is when you're low on a rigid frame, you hear every moving part. There's something super fucking cool with that. That's my 2 cents. You know, that's just, and I've ridden one 8,000 miles, right? And then rode it, you know, 2 summers later, a 38 knuckle to Tom Fugel's party and back, you know, no problems, you know, just cruising. That's a beautiful feeling. Put something together, ride it back. But I feel like a little more connected on an old bike. But man, my FXR and a quart of PPG paint, you know, like when I'm doing that Born Free hustle and I'm doing 90 down the 880 on an FXR, carefree with a full face helmet, like, that's a bitchin' feeling too.
Yeah.
But it's just whatever you take.
There's a lot of different flavors is basically what it is. And
Yeah.
some of them are probably, you know, fast food. Some of them are probably like real good, you know, superfoods.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
Peanut butter and chocolate ice cream. I got to find that.
yeah. Peanut butter. I was thinking about Bomb Pop. Yeah. No, Fudge Bomb. Those ones.
Oh, yeah,
the banana in the middle.
Yeah.
My favorite. I think that, you know, like going through the different, like every type of motorcycle can give you a new experience. Ride the same roads, you know, it change the bike and it's a new ride. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't necessarily grow up in an area where access to somebody that could show me old Harleys. So I came through sport bikes and all that shit. And lo and behold, I funnel into this world. And I'm, you know, if I could have one regret, I wish that somebody would have told me about this sooner. You know what I mean?
Right.
I wish I would have saw a documentary sooner. I wish I would have looked at Easy Riders for the bikes instead of the titties. You know, I wish I would have done all that stuff differently. Right. But you know, the perspective thing, I get to experience a lot of this shit for the first time now. And I'm stoked about that. And I'm appreciative of it. You know, I just started liking deviled eggs. I never had one before. It's pretty fucking rad, dude.
Yeah.
You'd be 40 years old finding something new.
I ate beets last night.
Was it good?
It's dirt. You know, it tastes just like dirt. Beets, and I like them. You know? It's, you got plenty of time.
Yeah.
You know? And you know what? I think when this thing swings down, this popularity thing, I know I'm still going to be here. But like I said, I might work at the hardware store during the day. And the prices get a little bit more affordable. I hope you can build yourself an old shovel head or something.
I do want to. Yeah.
Just so you know, it is a cool trip, you know. The knucklehead thing, it's just wild because I used to find them down kind of where you said you were down the valley. 12 grand, complete bike.
Yeah.
Ride it home, you know. And now I can't even buy the motor for that much.
Yeah.
And that's a blessing and a curse because the price tag goes up. But I tell you, if you're on a generator shovel, because that's kind of where I stop on old bikes is at 69, or you're on a knuckle and it's in a rigid frame and you have it set a certain way, you're not going to be complaining that you're on that generator shovel. That those fuckers are bad, right? And the knuckle's beautiful. There's no get stoned, take mushrooms and look at one, and they speak. They're from the heavens, right? But if I had one old bike for the rest of my life, it'd probably be a generator shovel, just because they run hard. They're easy to work on. They're really rebuildable. They run a little cooler than a knuckle, but it's funny sometimes because I see like a 23-year-old and he's like, "Man, I got to get a knucklehead." It's like, bro, you have a fucking generator shovel project right there. Stay on course.
Yeah.
You know, you're drifting off the road. Like, finish that thing and go look at your reflection in the mirror when you ride by and tell yourself you're a badass, because you are. Like, the whole knuckle thing, you know, it's just, I just found one cheap. I said this in the beginning. I'm going to have my 69 because that was the first generator shovel I had. And I had a panhead frame, and I'm going to have a 50 Chevy truck. And that's it. A good lady, fucking, you know, I'm learning to play guitar, and I'm done. Then I found a panhead. Really good deal on a panhead, running panhead. I was like, okay, generator shovel, panhead, Chevy truck, good old lady.
Yeah.
Then I found out about a knuckle, and I was like, well, that kind of makes sense. Knuckle, pan, shovel, I'm done.
Yeah.
Then you hear about another knuckle, and you're like, fuck. But in all reality, there's many a day where I'm like, if I had to pick one or I had to pick two, okay, with my Chevy, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's my business. So if I see a good deal on something, I have to grab it. But it's never about, like, a flex or anything like that. But I wish the younger guys listening that want an old bike, you know, find yourself a good cone shovel, stick it in a rigid frame, build what you like. Yeah. Put the phone down.
I think that's probably going to be my first one, is just a cone shovel.
Yeah.
There's still quite a, I mean, you can get those pretty cheap.
$3,500.
$3,500. I mean, everywhere. And I'm in love with the tough shovel look. I like that stance, little narrow bars, super narrow bike.
It's like a FXR cone shovel.
Exactly. Yeah. But the other thing is, like, there's just so many different styles of choppers. There's so many different things that kind of, like, you have to really be around them a lot to see them. Because anytime like a new car or truck comes out, I'm like, that's fucking ugly. Yeah. And then you start seeing it and you're like, God damn it. Like,
those headlights are kind of growing on me.
Yeah. And so the same thing, when you're around a lot of these different styles of choppers, these different tanks, and you start to learn a little bit of the history of why and this and where this kind of flavor came from, it's like, it starts to kind of fill in the blanks in your mind of what this represents. And then you start to, like, look at it with, like, the real eyes that it needs to be looked at it with.
Sure.
Right. And so, you know, I'm guilty. I go to Born Free and I chase all my buddies down that are, you know, San Diego Customs and all these other guys that are here and stuff. But, you know, I go out and I walk through all the bikes in the shows and check them out. And I just don't know enough yet, but I know eventually it will happen. We had a really, really nice chopper scene in Dallas for a minute. And then it was really tightened together, and then it kind of spread out. Now there's like factions, if you will.
Right.
I don't think there's any beef. I just think it's more convenience. You know what I mean?
Totally.
But yeah, I mean, when we had Chopper Supply going on in Dallas, dude, it was like, it was just fucking everybody.
What city was that in?
Fort Worth.
Yeah, that's a cool town. That's the cattle town.
Yeah.
Right?
And Chopper Supply was in the stockyards, which are, you know, famous for that shit. And it was a great time. I mean, it didn't last long, but I'm glad I got to see and experience a piece of that.
Right.
And you know, there's still a lot of great events. You know, Born Free's in Texas now as well. We don't have Giddy Up anymore, which was the coolest thing I ever went to in my life. Right, you know what I'm saying? Mama Tribe's pretty rad.
Yeah.
When you go to Milwaukee, it's just like you feel like you're at Gaia. You know what I'm saying? Like you're at the motherland.
Yeah.
You know, and then to find out like how many, almost everybody in that city has somebody in their family that worked for the dealer or worked for the Harley, you know what I mean? Building or whatever.
Yeah. I rode through there. There was no event.
Yeah.
You know, I just like had a beer and
kept it rolling.
Where they made them. Okay. Or where they make them. But yeah, man, it's that chopper thing, you know, sometimes people say like, oh, you build one style of thing, you know, like every bike has its little nuance, but like, it's just my favorite style. Yeah. You know, and I think that's what more people need to be like, hey man, this is what I like.
You find your thing. You know?
Yeah. I mean, you know, I used to listen to a lot of heavy metal, and I remember when Metallica started making different sounding albums, and I was like, no, kill them all, ride the lightning. Let's stick with the program, boys.
I like Justice for All.
Yeah, man. No. I feel you. No, and you know what? The older I got, I would like scoot that back a little bit.
Yeah.
So, you know, I feel like it's the same thing with the bike. Like you told me I was going to build a swing arm knucklehead. one day I was like, you're high. There's no way. They look perfect in a rigid frame.
Yeah.
I love my little, I love to ride that little swing arm Nuck.
Yeah.
But it's, your style changes, but like I'm too stubborn. Like even with skateboarding, there was certain tricks I would refuse to do on vert. And I was like, that's like a show off trick. It looks stupid. I'll never do it. I would never to this day did I do it. Or maybe I did one and I'm like, it's stupid. Right.
But you can do it. Just
because you should sometimes be like, if you're like, FXRs are dumb, you're like, why don't you borrow this for the weekend and tell me that?
Yeah.
And if they did, you're like, oh, okay, well, you're an idiot, but no, then they knew. But that is the one thing with the chopper thing. It's like, I like a certain style, all the posters around my spot.
Yeah.
I tweak everything on everyone, but I'm not going to change that.
Yeah.
Like someone said it to me once, a hot rod guy. He's like, you ever seen a good 32 Ford Roadster? It's like, yeah. It's like, they all kind of look a certain way, right? They got that thing. And you're like, right. When it starts to get tweaked too much with modern parts or billet parts, it kind of loses that thing. Yeah. But like a traditionally built one is built a certain way, and it always looks good. And that's kind of how I feel about like a panhead built well. You're like, you stray too far from that, it looks weird for a reason. You're what's that movie? He went full retard, like we probably
Simple Jack.
Yeah. Simple Jack. He simple jacked that thing. But yeah, man, that is one critique on the chopper thing. To some people, they all look the same.
Yeah.
It's like, sometimes they all look the same to you because you don't speak that language
Exactly.
yet. But when you learn that language, you'll start to see the nuances.
Yeah. It's the same way people are in FXRs. Like there's, that's a very modified bike over, the last 40 years, that it's of its existence from like, fucking pro street style choppers to, club style stuff that's now to just, people just making it look like they did off the lot. You know what I mean?
Right.
And there's always people who nerd out like, oh, that's a windshield model. That's a fucking fairing model.
Right.
And
Right.
I get it, but at the same time, it's like, I'm just glad people care enough about those things to even go that deep into understanding them.
Totally.
Because it just makes it to where I don't have to. Like my boy up in Sac made a whole book about him, and you can open the book and there's every fucking thing you've ever wanted to know, and even stories about certain people in the FXR world back then. It's a weird book, but FXR Bizarre, man, it's badass.
Oh, he's the one that runs that account?
Yeah,
cool.
He made the book and all that shit, and then really badass dude, good dude.
That's cool.
But yeah,
he's from Sac,
yeah, just south of Sac, between Lodi and Sac. So
I heard, John Cardiel, the skater.
No,
he's like a anti-hero. He's the gnarliest skateboarder, but he had an injury that kind of fucks him up from skating now. But the dude, would gainer off the roof of the hotel right when we got there, land right in the center of the drain perfectly, just the most, just full throttle since he was a kid. And he got into bikes recently, or in the last few years, and he's like 110
for real,
just splitting lanes. Like he found his thing. Like he lost skating, how he could do it at least.
I was going to ask you that. I'm glad you brought that back up. So what do you think it was, this draw that kind of so many skaters have come over into the motorcycle world? Back in the day to even now, you know what I mean?
No, it's a thing. It's like a thing, and it used to kind of bother me, because I was like, what's the trend here?
Yeah.
But, remember when you'd skate by and old lady look at you because the noise going down the sidewalk? I think it's similar, but I also think it's just like a red-blooded American thing. Like we kind of invented skating, right? Americans, I think, pretty much.
I mean, what we know skating to be now. Maybe. If you're talking like Dogtown and Z-Boy stuff, that's that's still a very predominant SoCal thing.
That's us. But I just mean like that, and same with the chopper, or same with the hot rod.
Yeah.
Like there's a part of us where it's just you're like you want to ring that bell, and I think in skate, I think like skating's tough. It's hard, and motorcycles are not as like physically challenging, and someone's going to disagree with me, but they probably never skateboarded.
Yeah.
But there's some like obnoxiousness and like loudness and like,
dissidence, basically. You're
Yeah.
just kind of creating something in that.
you're kind of like, hey man, like fucking up everyone's day for a second, but in a good way. I don't know. There's like something just so sick about it. Like I'll see one going down the road and I don't know the person. I usually know who the person is. And this kid, he goes to Cal Berkeley. He built a panhead in his, dude, it's not even a 1-car garage. Under a light bulb, he built his whole panhead. I saw him out there painting it one day. I was like, the fuck is this kid? He's like 24. Mm-hmm. He's a math genius. I see him riding down the road on the thing. I'm like, who the fuck is this kid? But I knew where he lived. I went by there, and sure enough, he's a skater, and he kind of knew me. And I think he just had that thing. He said, he's like, he can do a kickflip, backside nose blunt slide, switch 360 flip. I mean, good street skater. And he just said that. He's like, I love the challenge of skating, and I knew the first time I saw a chopper, I needed to have one. So I don't know why. That's my answer. But I think
it does lend itself to it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think especially when you're wrenching on them, I think like something goes wrong and you're like, man, I got to figure this out. Mm-hmm. I've pulled, this was a bummer. Rode to Portland and back, and I was almost home. Stopped in some little hippie town. My friend went to that gas station and I went to this gas station just because, like, boom, we did the split off the freeway and I'm gassed up and we leave and we're like, it's the last tank home. We're fucking, I'm on the generator shovel. We're dipping. Just like, yeah, man, sun setting. Whop, bang, bang, pop, 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 boom. Fuck. And we got a tow strap and he towed me, which was so sketchy, to this town. And I go through everything. Just fucking put new plugs in, fires up, bang, bam, 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 bam. So I'm like, fuck it. Someone comes and gets me. For like 2 days, I'm taking apart my magneto, putting it together, get another magneto, put it in, and I would leave my house and fucking make it a block. Bang, 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 boom, bang, bop. You know what it is?
Yeah.
You have any idea? Mm-mm. So carbs, I'm doing everything. Like fucking, I put a timer on there, at one point. Like a traditional distributor with a battery, make it the same distance that I got bad gas. I got gas with water in it.
Oh, that's what it was?
So finally, someone's like, you drained the tank. Oh, everyone said vapor lock. You got vapor lock. I'm like, don't have fucking vapor lock. There's a when I let off the thing. But there was water in that gas.
Oh, shit.
And I think when it separated, when I filled it, maybe the water went up and the good gas went down and it drank it and we'd get to it. But I should have known, this was in the beginning.
Yeah.
But my plugs kept getting black. So, it's, you'd think like weak spark or something. And everyone, if you don't love magnetos, you don't like them. So it's the magneto. You'll hear, it's the magneto. And you're like, those things are in Cessnas, man. They're fucking, people use them for a reason. But yeah, put a fresh tank in, wire brush the plug.
Done.
2 days. I was like, I'm going back to that fucking town. I'm gonna burn that gas station down. I was just so fucking chapped.
It's kind of good though. Like I've always felt like when you have those kind of problems, it's like you're thinking the worst. It could be something even bad. But yeah, it's nice if you can figure it out on the road though. It'd be much nicer.
I know.
Instead of having to put it on a truck or something.
Dude, I've once Rachel and I went for like a big spin, 600, 800 miles. She's a soldier. She's got a scar on her butt crack, from sitting on those pee pads. But we were pulling in. We got stuck in a lot of traffic coming from Sacramento, and we bump into my driveway. Clutch explodes. Just fucking boosh goes everywhere.
Damn.
Right in the driveway. And she goes, honey, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, no, we're good. Like, this is where you want to break down, right here.
At the end.
Yeah, I had a valve seat kick-started my 38 knuckle in the driveway once. I don't know if I was coming home or leaving, but I started and it like bang, bang, bang. The whole valve seat dropped out. Mm-hmm. Took the heads off and the seat was holding the valve up right in the driveway before it wreaked any havoc on anything else, So I'll take those all day long compared to being on, like, every time I'm on the Bay Bridge, you're like,
dude. I talk about that a lot on here too. It's like especially when you're coming back and and you're on the bottom.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, in the 90s this motherfucker collapsed on some people. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then for Texas we're flat as hell. So when I always tell them, it's like when you're going across the Bay Bridge, you're like as high as a skyscraper.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like you feel the bridge moving, but it's sick as fuck. You want to look out everywhere, but you're also like, don't think about the fact that, you know, it could be an earthquake or some shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
totally.
Like try not to, you know, psych yourself out on the situation. But yeah, riding across those bridges is always gnarly.
Yeah, I love it. I love the bottom, that sound
Yeah.
of the pillars going by. My dad was 7 cars back when the piece fell.
Serious?
He worked in the city, and he was going to the Walnut Creek, to the suburbs, and the piece fell, right? And that one lady drove in. It didn't smash any cars when it fell.
Oh, it didn't?
No, it didn't kill anyone from that. Maybe it like caught someone's trunk, but I don't think it killed anyone. But he said it just stopped, and he was like, the fuck? And he's like, I can't. He said it was gray asphalt, you know, like an optical illusion that came down.
Yeah, 'cause you could still see it. Yeah.
So everyone just was walking back to the city, and he's like, okay, there was probably an earthquake. The piece fell. That means Bart, the train's not going to run, which it didn't. Mm-hmm. And everyone got stuck in the city and was having to like take taxis, which there was none.
Yeah.
All the way around. So he was a businessman, man, but he had his running shoes with him in his van. Left the Volkswagen van. He said he left the keys in it. They just called him from a tow yard like 5 days later. And he shimmied on the edge of the bridge and then came to our house in West Oakland. It's the first time I ever saw a white guy jogging up our street in a suit. And I was like, so one of the neighbors started to clown. They're like, look at this fool. And I was like, that's my dad.
Dad?
Yeah. I had a little Datsun 510 at the time. He's like,
Yeah.
I need a ride home. And I was like, yeah, let's go. And we drove out there. It's, 20 minutes, 0 people on the freeway.
Yeah, that was wild,
I
man.
thought it was the end of the world. I actually looked at my dad at one point and I was like, are we the last 2 people on the earth? Because it felt like that. You know?
I remember seeing it because I remember when it happened. I was in school, and they put it on the news. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a big deal. Our like walls came down in that big warehouse. Like walls came down. All our dishes broke, but that was a beautiful night in the hood. Like everyone, you good? You have food? You hungry? You need anything? Like it was all love.
Yeah.
Then people started climbing, fucking looting dead bodies and shit. And it stuck because the Cypress Freeway, it collapsed on all those people there. That was nasty. People had ladders and shit, and you're like, oh, they're going to help. Pulling fucking watches off people. And
Damn.
yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah, that was when you were telling me stories, like I could have swore I remember like it killed a lot of people, but
that part did. But I think when the piece fell on the Bay Bridge, it was.
But the bridge stayed up. It just the top fell on the bottom, right?
Yeah, there's like like you're driving on that, and it's like tick 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 tick. It's built in sections. That section just went. Poof,
that's right.
Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whew.
Should we end it on the earthquake?
Yeah, I was thinking so.
Yeah.
Well, hey Max, I really appreciate this. I'm glad to finally meet you, and
Pleasure.
now you know me.
Yeah.
And I'm up here all the time, man. This is like my second home, so we'll run it back after you do some more cool shit.
Yeah.
Is that cool?
Stop by.
All right, cool. Thanks, bud. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah.